for me, having somebody go through like an online course and go from 0 to just like 5k a month is way more satisfying than helping a lawyer go from $500,000 a month to like 600k a month. Because to me it's like, and to the lawyer it doesn't really mean much. So it's 100 grand. To a kid, when I say kid, like 18, 19, who's just finished or dropped out of college, to make an extra 5 grand in a month, to him he's buzzing, and that was the best feeling ever.
Right, we're back with episode 60, I think, of the Midnight Pod. We've got Markuss Hussle, stage name, I think, for the second name, officially. We probably wasted like 45 minutes of quality content off camera, which is always a risk and generally tends to happen. I have just finished a 30-kilometre run as well, so my legs are fucked, so I'm having a drink to A, take the pain away, but B, because I've got some of the tequila stuff from episode 59 left over. Tokyo's joining us, as always. You're the first person in the OnlyFans world on the pod, and it's an interesting and sometimes controversial space, but also I saw you went on Lucas's pod, and I feel like everyone goes on everyone's fucking pods, and it's like a very small world, and I've just realised that you live in the same building as Jack, who's been on here, and a few other people. How did you get started? What's the story? Like, I was reading into your background, it seems pretty fucking interesting, to be fair. From Latvia originally, came from humble beginnings and obviously doing cool shit now.
Yeah. Don't know how quickly do you want me to kind of wrap up the story, but
well, go as long as you want.
Sure.
Tell the full story.
So like you mentioned, started in I was born in Latvia, moved to the UK when I was 10 years old. Couldn't speak English at all. Like, literally didn't know how to say anything other than yes or no when I first moved here. So I found school like kind of, I don't know, I didn't really know what the hell was going on. Hey, bro. Anyway, long story short, kind of just flunked through school. I never really done any revision, never really took it seriously, mainly because I didn't know what the hell was going on for the main part, if I'm being honest. So I didn't really get like incredible results. When it came to me going to college or sixth form, I'll be honest, I genuinely didn't know what the fuck was the difference. Can I swear, by the way? Is that cool?
Yeah, I swear all the time.
Okay, cool. I genuinely didn't know what was the difference. I know that probably sounds stupid, but I was like, I don't know, I'll just go college. And in college, I done media. The reason for that was because media, which was like photography and videography in school, was the only one that I've got like decent results in. Everything else was like an F, U. So I done media in college. And then I enjoy that. That was for 1 year. I learned how to do like photography, videography, editing, Photoshop, the basics of what's actually, fun enough, really important nowadays, what we do with social media. So I done that for 1 year in college because legally had to. Like, I think you have to be 18 in it until you can leave.
Yeah, it's changed now, I think.
Is it?
It used to be 16.
Oh, okay.
I think it's 18 now, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure I had to. Anyway, I left when I was 18. I dropped out of first year of college and I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. I joined my first like work as such as like a 9 to 5, I guess, was a door-to-door job, which was really interesting. So cool. Those annoying fuckers that go to your door and knock like a Jehovah Witness.
Shit! You weren't actually a Jehovah's Witness.
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. I was working for RSPCA and Battersea. Funny enough.
Oh, really?
So like animal shelters and shit like that, and I was trying to get like donations from people. Genuinely enjoyed it. Like, I actually enjoyed it. The job itself was horrible. Like, I would just be on my legs walking from like God knows when, like 3 p.m. to like 8 p.m.
This is when you're 18?
I was about 19 at this point, I think. Yeah, 18, 19, yeah.
Didn't go to uni then?
No. One other part about my story, which also, by the way, made me like, it is fairly important to the obviously my journey, is unfortunately my pops passed away when I was 18. And I think up until then, by the way, I was just a typical teenager, like doing dumb stuff, just smoking, party and stuff like that. But unfortunately when that happened, and I'm the only child as well, by the way. So I just had me and my mum, that's it. I don't have any grandparents, none of that. And it was just me and my mum here in the UK. And my mum isn't from even a mid background in terms of financials. Like, we literally have to go to the reduced aisle of like Tesco's and shit, like to get food. So that was kind of just to give everyone a bit of perspective in terms of like my upbringing.
Why did she move when you were 10?
My parents split up. My mum and my biological dad split up when I was 10. Unfortunately my pops was an alcoholic, and he was abusive, but not to me, to my mum. But I don't remember it because I was obviously a little kid. But my mum has told me so. So yeah, they split up, and then my mum found my stepdad, who was already living here. He's from Latvia as well, but he moved here because he's a carpenter, he's a builder. Right. So he was here for work, and then she moved. Well, she first came here by herself. My mum did, to go meet him. Everyone's cool. She came back to Latvia, basically said, "Do you want to move to UK?" To me, I was like, fucking, that's sick. Because again, for a bit of context, I think you've seen on my Instagram and how I grew up in Latvia, that post.
It's crazy.
So I was living in a house like that, which, there can be worse, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing like conditions, even like a shitty council estate here in the UK. Like, it's nothing like that. So I was like, yeah, cool. Anyway, so I moved here. Then, unfortunately, when I was 18, my pops passed away. And that's when, like, my mindset just shifted from kind of, I'm a kid, I'm having fun, I don't really care about anything, to, like, it's serious now. Like, I could see, like, the pain in my mum's eyes. Like, I just understand, like, life. It just hit me. So, and then I got the door-to-door job, and I took it really serious because it was a commission-only job. And that's what made me realize, like, oh, interesting. So the harder you work, the more money you earn. Which is pretty common sense, right? But a lot of people, if they're just in the school, college, university, and 9-to-5 life, genuinely don't really understand it, which is crazy.
Yeah, just stuck in the system.
Yeah. So that door-to-door job really made me understand, like, hard work does pay off eventually. It might not straight away, but if you just carry on being consistent with hard work, it will pay off. And in terms of the door-to-door job, that would mean if I just start at, like, I can't remember, I think it's 3 p.m. and I would knock on doors till, like, 8 p.m. If I'd done it consistently throughout the whole day, I could guarantee make an X amount. But if I'm, like, lazy, if I knock on, like, 10 doors and it doesn't really work and I quit, well, obviously it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And that really, that taught me, like, just how to be persistent.
Quick one, fellas. You probably heard a few months ago I dropped an ecom course, a very fucking guru of me, but it's not that. I promise you, 0 to 1, how to start a brand from scratch with no budget, some budget, a bit of budget. Take your idea from a bedroom to reality to potentially 7-8 figures in sales, like I've done a few times, based on my 7 years of experience in the trenches and my current experience building my current brand, Space Goods. It's no bullshit, no frills. We've had like 75 people go through so far. Not a single person has asked for a refund. Plenty of people have actually built some seriously impressive shit. Covers every aspect of the business. Not just the front end stuff like most gurus on YouTube and Twitter are talking about, not just product, marketing, all that shit, but the real shit, the logistics, the back end, the supply chain, the customer service, the finances as well. This covers the whole spectrum, every part, 12 hours of video. If you're interested in scaling a brand 0 to 1, actually turning your idea finally into a reality, then click the link below, go check out Learn Real Commerce course and let me know what you think. I'll be glad to have you in there. Let's fucking go.
Now, I'd done that job for about a year. I quit that job because some BS reason. Like, there was essentially like a ceiling and you really couldn't progress any further. So I was like, I'm pretty bored of it. I've done it for a whole year, but I do not regret it at all. Like, it taught me a lot. Did you ever do like a door-to-door job or any sales job?
Yeah, I did. I worked in, the one that comes to mind, I worked in John Lewis selling fucking TVs in summer when I was like 18. And this is when I had my first clothing brand, which was so shit. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Spent all my wages on stock and couldn't sell any, but I would go around putting, like, I was in like the computer and TV section, so I had to know shit about TVs. It was bullshit, and there was like a bit of commission and shit, but I used to go around putting my website on the computers because I thought that was advertising. That was like pretty expensive advertising. Like 5 people would see it in a whole day, and then I get told off. But that was just like me trying to fucking hustle.
How old was you then? Like 18?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Maybe 18, 19.
It's interesting, yeah.
That was the first thing.
So that door-to-door job, by the way, I just remembered, I was going to give this to you at the beginning, bro. Let me just give it to you now, bro, so I don't forget. So I got you a little present.
Fucking hell.
I got you one of these bad boys. Yeah.
That's proper.
Sick, innit? Bro, do you know the best?
Where'd you get this?
Do you know the best part? Stick your finger in there and press that button.
Wait, where?
Yeah, in there. There's a button on the car.
In the middle?
Yeah. You see at the bottom here? Oh my God.
Oh shit. Fucking hell. That's a very generous gift. Very thoughtful. Thank you very much.
Bro.
Fucking hell.
I like to come bearing gifts like always. I think it's just a nice thing.
Yeah, that's legit. The only person that's ever bought me a car model like this, and I still have it, is my mate bought me a fucking a Hurricane Performante. I think I was talking about getting one. I never actually got one. But and I got an Audi R8 one from my dad before when I got that car.
Sick.
But this is way sicker. Fucking hell. I don't know if the camera can see that. That's the DeLorean that was in the movie and is also on the poster up there. So fucking hell.
I was just worried that you might
frame that or some shit.
I was worried you might have one already.
No, I don't. That's actually sick.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
There you go, man.
Wow.
I was at the shop as well, and there was this.
I thought you were just gonna give me like a bottle of wine or some shit.
No. There you go.
Oh wow, 2 presents.
It was just next to it, so I was like, yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, fuck. That is lit.
Because, like I said,
have to frame this.
And for people as well, like I've been following your stuff for a while, man. So it's honestly a pleasure for like having me on, man. Genuinely appreciate it, brother.
Very generous. I appreciate this as well. Thanks a lot. But that's kind of deep. That's so sick.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, I like that. But I'm definitely putting that in a pride of place somewhere. That's definitely better than a Lambo model as well. Like, who the fuck has that? Where do you even get this from?
So this is where I was in Camden Town today, and they have like a Back to the Future exhibition.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I walked past it, I was like, yes, this is perfect.
It glows. I actually was gonna rent the one for the movie that glowed like this, but they said I couldn't drive it because it's like not road legal. So that's why I ended up getting a standard one.
Could you not did you have to do driving in the scene, yeah?
Well, we didn't even end up driving it because it broke down. Right. So like that's why most of the shots are in next to a fucking. It's just literally in a car parking space in Belgrave Square. That's
what I saw. Yeah. Like you getting out of it and like the doors.
Yeah, so
up.
I drove it for like 10 minutes before we started filming, and it's the worst car I've ever driven in my life. It's literally like a boat. I thought it was going to crash. It was like I'd forgotten how to drive. The clutch was impossible. The brakes don't work. I was taking the t-shirt. He likes, don't chew that. But yeah, it was. Anyway, that's why we didn't get the proper one. But
no,
I didn't.
There you go, man. You got that now.
Yeah, that's sick.
Wicked. So yeah, back to kind of where we're at, brother. Essentially, from the door-to-door job, that's what made me realize, like, oh, so like the harder I work, the more money I earn. And for a bit of context as well, before that, I did have one 9-to-5, which was at Prezzo's. You know, like the Italian pizza pasta place. The story with that is my stepsister used to be a manager there. So I have stepsisters and stepbrothers from my stepdad's side, right? And she got me a place there. So I've been working since I was like 15, 16 years old at Prezzo's till like 18. Anyway, but I enjoyed, funny enough, the door-to-door job was way, way, way harder than the Prezzo job, but like I enjoyed it way more because like I was actually interacting with people, and the harder I worked, the more money I'd earn. So that's what made me really click. Okay. And that's the whole like, oh, how did you become an entrepreneur? It wasn't a case of like, right, today I'm going to become an entrepreneur, bro. Like, I just, that door-to-door job is what made me realize, oh, cool, like, just the harder I work, the more I'm going to earn. Now, so I quit that. I moved back to Essex in Colchester where I used to live. I got like this job at a state agency. Quite funny story. Literally, I put on my nicest suit, literally just a black suit. Didn't have a CV, nothing, bro, because I thought it was a fucking waste of time. Literally just put on my suit, had AirPods in. I remember this like it was yesterday. I just walked into every single estate agency in Colchester where I used to live. Just such a dickhead. I had sunglasses on and my AirPods. I'd walk in, I would, as soon as I'd walk in, I'd like take one AirPod out, go like this, are you guys hiring? If they'd say no, I'm like, cool. Just walk out. Bro, mother's life.
You were MI6 or something.
Yeah. Bro, mother's life. It must have been like only my like 5th or 6th estate agency that I went into. Got the job there and then. Yeah.
Probably most people don't ask.
Yeah. Oh, they were like their reaction when I walked in, they were like, fucking hell, yeah, all right, we'll hire you. Because like no one's ever done that. And again, to me, it's like, it's just common sense. Like, if you need the job, just do that. Like, just try and get one. So anyway, I worked at this, I'm going to try and kind of keep this one nice and short because I'm sure most people don't really give a fuck about how I worked as an estate agent. But as I was working as an estate agent, which is a filler job, I knew from day one, like when I got the job, it was just for now. I wasn't going to be an estate agent, didn't care about it. I was just thinking, what else can I do to like really, like, what can I do? I was going to be a PT at one point. I was actually trying to become a personal trainer. Toki really wants that t-shirt.
I'm trying to protect this t-shirt. Hey, that's rude. Stop.
So yeah, I was going to be a personal trainer, but then what happened was I was learning because you need a qualification to be a PT. It just didn't work out in the end, and basically I started doing videography and photography because one of my good friends in Colchester, he has a studio in his apartment, kind of like this, but in a corner of his apartment, he's got like the microphone, the mixer amp, and all this stuff. He's gonna be upset now.
I'm hiding this. Right, there we go.
And I would just chill at his, right, and there would be rappers that come in, do like a song, and then they were like, all right, cool, we've got the song now, it's mixed and mastered, we need a music video now. And and I was just there. Cool, I'll record a music video. And in college, that's when I learned obviously about videography, editing, putting shit together. So that's how I got into like videography media, was through music videos, like rap videos. Still one of them is like live now. It's got like 10k views, and back then I was like, yeah, this is nuts.
Yeah.
And it was like, bro, it was literally like 150 quid I'd get paid, like £200 for these music videos. And it would take me like a week to make. But I enjoyed it. Like that's the main thing. So I done that. Then I realized, right, cool, there's not really a lot of money in these music videos. So then I started learning like who else could I do videography for, photography. I started doing it for car dealerships, lawyers, so on and so on. It was a bit boring. It was all right. That was the typical SMMA, like a marketing agency.
Yeah.
He really wants a
I might have
t-shirt.
to remove this dog. He's going crazy about this t-shirt. He's just decided he wants it. Right, calm down. Go to sleep. Be nice. What have we spoken about?
I should have got him a toy in it. This is my bad.
No, he's a little terror. He's giving up now. Cool. That's sorted. I'm gonna restrain this dog.
But yeah, so that's how I got into like SMMA. Without again, like people also ask me like, oh, how did you get into SMA? Like, when did you start your agency? It wasn't a case where like I woke up and I was like,
it sounds more organic.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people now, I reckon, watch like certain YouTubers and quite literally buy their course and just start. And that's why I think there's an epidemic of SMMA agencies that basically don't know what the fuck they're doing because they've never done anything.
Correct.
Not everyone, but some.
Correct. And I don't think there's anything wrong with just being like, all right, cool, today I want to start an SMA, or today I want to start an OnlyFans management agency. But you have to like at least know what you're doing before. Like, so for me, for example, I didn't just, like I said, just wake up one day and go, right, I want to start a marketing agency. By the time I got to the point where I was running a marketing agency, I had already had like 2-3 years of experience of doing videography, talking to businesses and stuff like that, which people don't see. And they just think, oh, he started when he got lucky and he got some clients. And another thing, I'd done a whole year of door-to-door sales. So I had a year's worth of sales experience.
Yeah, that's cool.
So like, So for me, when I started the SMA, right, I found it just super fucking easy. It was just talking to other business owners. It wasn't rocket science. I just pick up the phone, call every single car dealership, because I love cars. Like that was my thing. Yeah. I just call every single. There was no CRM. I had no spreadsheet. I had nothing.
So did it start as making videos for them?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. One of my first ever clients, shout out to you guys, Total Head Turners. They're actually in Chelmsford. They're classic cars, actually, funny enough.
Oh, sick.
Like classic retro cars. Dealership. They're my first ever client, and I was doing like videos for them and things like that, and it was so great to work with because they had no idea what to do with like videography and marketing, but they were up for everything. Those are like the best clients. We done like rolling shots, like just all different cars and shit, and it was great.
So was this for like their website or to actually pump on socials, right? So initially, bro, it started off as just me doing the videos and the content. Then when we started doing these videos and content, they were just, I don't know what to do with it. They were just posting it on their Facebook, bro. It got like 2 likes. Exactly. So then they came to me and they were like, well, do you want to actually manage our Facebook as well? And I was like, yes. I didn't know what the hell I was doing at that point, but I was like, yes. Funny story, by the way, bro. You know how if you get a new client now, or I don't know, did you ever run like a paid ads agency or not? Never. No, just straight into like... One of the only people that never did.
Building your own stores and stuff, right? But if you want to connect your ads account to a different one, right? You need to like get their, send their email address and so on and so on. I didn't know how to do that, but I was like, yeah, I know how to do that. So I was in their office. I was watching a YouTube video on how to do it whilst doing it myself. So that's how I got into it, bro. I've done that for about a year, 2 years, about 2 years, from 2019 till end of 2021, I want to say, around. It was, I remember I had the switch in October, is it 2020, April, when lockdown happened? I believe it was.
Yeah, March, April 2020.
Yeah, so that's when like everything changed, because obviously all car dealerships went on pause. I mean, they were on lockdown, right? And I knew what pause meant. Like, they're not going to come back because nobody knew what the... Bro, fucking people thought the world was ending at that point.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember being forced to wear black rubber gloves to go in the gym.
Oh, wait, what? I don't know how to do that.
There was a gym in the building we used to live in over there. That was so weird. I remember that for like a week. And then they just sort of stopped it, but it was so strange. I think I was scared of COVID then, like everyone else, for like a week. And then I realised quite quickly it wasn't quite that. But.
Do you remember when you couldn't go into a restaurant without the thing? I'm trying to not get this censored for you.
Yeah, legit. I mean, don't get me started. There's so many wild things.
And then you walk into the
restaurant.
restaurant.
That a lot of stuff has come out since, which proves all the mad people at the time were not so mad.
Bro,
but anyway.
Yeah, like, we can go into a massive conspiracy theory, but again, on my mother's life, I swear to God, I'm not lying to you. I was telling my mum from day one, Mum, this is mad. Like, I don't believe this. Yeah. I swear to God. And even my mum was like, come on, darling, look, there's a video of a person walking and just falling face first. I was like, Mum, this doesn't seem straight. Don't get me wrong, there was a point where I was like, shit, this seems pretty bad. Yeah. But it was just always something fishy going on.
There's always a correlation between entrepreneurs broadly and viewing like the mass consensus the opposite way about anything. It's just funny. Well, like, does no one else have any common sense?
I think also we probably look at it from a business point of view as well. So for example, have you seen what's happening with the egg farms in America?
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Right? All of a sudden, there's been like 3 of the largest ones in USA that are burnt down in the last like 7 days.
That's very sus.
And the price of eggs has fucking skyrocketed, bro.
I love eggs as well.
And who's invested into like egg search, of these farms and stuff. So yeah, so that's how I got into it essentially, brother. Like marketing and so on and so on. So then for like 2 years, it was great. I got it to about 12,000 because I know a lot of people always are curious. I got it to about £12,000 per month, like my agency. Yeah. To me, that was nuts, bro. Then that was crazy. Because obviously, for context, at the door-to-door job, the most I ever made was 4.5K in a month. Yeah. But on average, I'd make about 2,500.
Was that just you, or did you have like a team?
So that's what I would make, but then I would have a team as well on the end of the journey. Like, so throughout the year, 6-7 months, it was just me. And the last couple of months, I started to build a team. Yeah. And that's also, remember when I said the reason why I left is because there was a bullshit cap. So the rule was, I think all door-to-door jobs are different, but my one was like, if you have a team of 4, so you're the leader and you have 4 people like working with you, then you get promoted to like head office or some shit like that. And you can open up your own office essentially, which I hit all the criteria, but they weren't letting me open my own office for months for no reason. Obviously, I know now why, because if I was in their office, I would make them a lot of commission, so it was in their best interest to keep me there. But anyway, so I'd done that for quite some time. Then when COVID happened, I switched from working with car dealerships to law firms. I'm still marketing Facebook ads. No content creation, it was just Facebook ads at this point, by the way, and Google ads. The reason why law firms, I've never been to law school. I don't know anything about law, but I know the motherfuckers got a lot of money.
Yeah, that's very true.
And also, obviously at that point, very important, which was, is it COVID proof? AK, like, can the business still run if everything is shut down? Yeah. And law firms just ticked both of those boxes massively. So I was like, perfect, right? So I started working in law firms, and this is where, I mean, I was going to say unfortunately, but definitely fortunately now, because I just got bored of everything. I just got like, by that point as well, I had been doing marketing for like 5 years. It was just the same shit, bro. Like, I had team members at that point. The most I ever made in my marketing agency was like 40 grand, I think. Some clients paid me like 6 months up front, some were on a monthly billing, etc. But on average, I was making like 30,000 again, which is like very good and impressive to like the average person, but to me it's just like I was stuck at that level for so long. I was talking to lawyers, no offense if you're a lawyer, I don't have nothing in common with you. I had to wear like a shirt on my Zoom calls. I had to like talk a certain way. I didn't feel like me, and I started the whole content marketing because I enjoyed it. Like, I liked making videos for car dealerships. Like, I really enjoyed that shit. I'd do it for free. And then now it got to a point where like I was working for money, and the money was okay, but I wasn't enjoying it. So then, I mean, you were talking about this off camera about traveling. So you traveled quite a bit as well, right?
Yeah, fucking loads.
Yeah, was it mainly around like Europe and Asia, or?
Started in Europe, then went Asia, Australia, America. But yeah, Asia was what got me most excited at the time.
Yeah, like Bali.
Bali and shit. Yeah,
wicked. So kind of the same thing, but for me, I only basically stay around Europe. And so that's when I traveled for like 2 years. I also started a coaching business at that point as well, called Ad Academy, the most lucrative industry in the world. Like, you're literally selling information. The profit margins are a fucking 100%. Yeah. So I was like, cool. So I was running my marketing agency and my coaching business at this point, and I was traveling. The marketing agency kind of really slowed down. I had like 1 or 2 clients that were paying me like 5K, and my coaching business was doing pretty good.
Was that coaching for people to start agencies or what?
Yeah, that's it. And in terms of that as well, by the way, for context, it wasn't a case where like again, I woke up one day and I was like, right, today I'm gonna start a coaching business. I have a Facebook group, which you guys can still find right now. If you go on Facebook right now, you just search SMMA, which is like what stands for Social Media Marketing Agency. My group typically is the first one. It's got 30,000 people, all real members. The reason why I started that group, by the way, is because I was living in like a council estate back when I first started like marketing. None of my friends wanted to do online businesses, nothing to do with that. Literally none of them. All they ever wanted to do was either do drugs or sell them. So I was like, yeah, I'm not on it. So I started my own like little group on Facebook. I swear to God, just for the purpose of like networking with other like-minded people. Just a cool community. Then because I was the fucking face of it, it said created by Markuss Hussle on Facebook. People would message me all the time like for advice, and I would do it for free at first because it was only like 5 messages a day.
That's the same with me, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really should like fucking turn a screw and fucking start printing.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I mean, essentially, when you have the community, you can do what you want with it, right? So yeah, and then essentially just got to the point where like there was literally guys messaging me, hey, how much for your coaching? I didn't do coaching. I just had the Facebook group, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, and then he goes, how much would you charge for like to coach me on how to run the agency? I was like, £250. And he was like, all right. I was like, really? He was like, yeah, I'll just do it. How do I pay you? I was like, all right, sweet. So he paid me £250, and all I had to do was do one Zoom call with him a week for a month. So four Zoom calls a month for £250. I was like, yo, what? People were going to pay me to do a Zoom call with me. And that's kind of how the coaching started. And obviously eventually then I realized, oh wait, so if I just, because I kept having the same questions over and over, I was like, all right, so if I just record a video that answers the same question that I keep getting, I can just send that video to them. And that's how I slowly built an online course. And then I just started selling that, and I started really learning about info products and being a coach. And I was like, shit, this industry is insane. Like, it's so scalable. Profit margins are insane. And also for me, having somebody go through like an online course and go from 0 to just like 5k a month is way more satisfying than helping a lawyer go from $500,000 a month to like 600k a month. Because to me it's like, and to the lawyer it doesn't really mean much. So it's 100 grand. To a kid, when I say a kid, like 18, 19, who's just finished or dropped out of college, to make an extra 5 grand in a month, to him he's buzzing, and that was the best feeling ever. And that's kind of how I got into coaching and stuff. Now in terms of OnlyFans, so what I do now is I run an OnlyFans consultancy management agency. How I got into that was when I started traveling for those 2 years. I met a lot of girls who were already in OnlyFans or just starting out.
What, like Bali and stuff? Or
no, around Europe.
Okay.
I was meant to go Bali actually. I had tickets, but they changed the rule again to where you had to have mandatory vaccine. And I wasn't doing it.
You can get around that. I got around that.
I did, but I never went, to be honest. No, it was around Europe, bro. Yeah.
So like Eastern Europe or just Europe as a
Europe, Spain, France, were mainly around Spain. I was living in Tenerife and Marbella for quite some time. Marbella is fun. Yeah, but this, for context, this was about 3 years ago. Now it's 2023, so it was about 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
When did OnlyFans get founded?
2017.
Yeah, so it's not actually that old, is it?
No.
6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's mad.
But since the COVID like lockdown, it had if you look at the chart, like it's had a massive spike. Yeah, it's insane. And obviously I joined like the best time in the world.
So was that like, how did that come about? So you just met these girls, and then you were currently doing the marketing stuff still, and it was a gradual opportunity transition. So
I was traveling with one of my boys, Andre. Well, it was kind of like I went to one country and I met a couple of my boys, went to a different country, met a couple of my boys, like different lads. But then for the second year into traveling, I just traveled with me and my boy Andre. He was also running an agency, by the way. He's a friend of mine from the door-to-door job, for context.
Is that the guy on Twitter?
Say again?
Is that the guy on Twitter?
No, you won't know him.
Okay, because I'm just thinking of that name and some guy that has a lot of OnlyFans stuff on Twitter.
Oh no, he doesn't do OnlyFans. No. He was doing a SMA.
Oh, okay,
yeah. Right. And he's not on socials. You definitely won't know. So me and him were traveling, and we're just going out, Tinder, whatever, just meeting a lot of girls, and we just noticed like pretty much there's a trend. They're all fucking doing OnlyFans, and we're like, Interesting. And it wasn't until like we had like some girls come round us that were both doing OF, and we're just like, just drinking pre-drinks, talking to them, and like she showed me like her phone, like how much she was making a month. It was like 12, it was like 15, 16,000 this is per month. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, what?
That's crazy.
And then all you have to do is just upload some photos and videos and that's it. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, so I'm just curious, like, so what's stopping you from like making more? She's like, oh, if I'm honest, like I don't have the time and I don't really know how to like get more and more.
She was doing this on the side?
Yeah,
like full time?
Yeah. Well, no, it was kind of full time. I think she was a student and she was also, but in terms of job wise, like money, just OF. So I asked her like, so what's stopping you? Because again, from a business point of view, I always look at everything like, so what's stopping you from like making more? And she was like, time and not the knowledge of like where to market, like what to do. And I was like, interesting. Funny that, because my marketing agency saves people time and helps them with marketing. So I was like, interesting. So then the next morning, I was hanging my ass, but I was just learning about OnlyFans, like looking into it like crazy. And that's essentially how I like started learning about it and getting into it. And then essentially my first clients, it wasn't a case where like I woke up and I was like, let me start an OnlyFans management agency. It was literally just reaching back to those girls and like, do you want to work together? Like, I'll help you do this. I'll just take a percentage. This is also the massive difference, by the way, because with a marketing agency, I would get my law firm clients to pay me a monthly base up front. Whereas with OnlyFans, you take a percentage of the earnings. So if somehow you don't make like a certain amount, like you make less, you know what I mean? And the girl doesn't have to pay you anything up front. So there's not really any risk.
It's a win-win, or
right?
lose-lose.
So that's kind of how I pitched it. I was like, look, let me just do this for a month. I promise you I know what the fuck I'm doing. Like I'm a nerd when it comes to marketing. Like I love looking at like, what gets more clicks, what gets more engagement, and all these like analytics. I love all that stuff. I'm going to make sure I do all your marketing. I'm gonna try and do your OnlyFans and and let's just try it out. And I'll just take 30% of what you're doing. She's like, all right, cool. Yeah, and it just fucking worked. Like, because the girl didn't have enough time to like, actually do all the messaging and stuff. Yeah. Whereas I was like, fuck it, let me just try it. And what's really funny is like, me as a guy, I know what other guys want when they're doing the messaging, and it was just like simple. Like all you have to do is just like essentially play along with like what they want, like play into their fantasies, etc.
So a girl that like at the start, so this girl said she's making 15 grand a month. I'm just interested in this. Is she like got a big following already, or is she just like a normal girl that's, I don't know, got a few thousand followers?
And that was like 10k.
And she's just getting that from like a link in bio.
Yeah.
It's purely organic.
Yeah, it's just 10k Instagram followers. You don't have.
Not even crazy.
You don't have to be. And I know I say just 10k, but like nowadays girls have way more than that on average. At least definitely London. So no, you don't have to be like no crazy influencer. What makes the most amount of money is like the craziest shit that you do, the more guys will pay. Or alternatively, if you are like of a high standard or of a high level. So for example, we have one model. I can show you this after, but obviously for NDA reasons, I'll show you kind of the numbers and stuff after. We have one model who isn't an influencer. She has like 6,000, I believe, like followers on Instagram. But she works in one of the high-end, I know you've probably been to one of the high-end nightclubs. It's like Rain, but it's not Rain. So you probably know which one. Yeah. You know those dancers and bottle girls?
Yeah.
So she's one of those. And most of her followers are obviously guys that go to the club. They have a lot of money to spend. They're wealthy, right? So we launched her OF. Bro, we're selling a picture of her ass for $100.
Fucking hell. Is that a custom picture? As in like one per bloke, or is it like...
No.
Because how does that actually work? I mean, I know I've never been a customer and I never will be, but I'm sure lots of guys watching this maybe secretly are, I don't know. But like, I'll click on it. Like I've seen it before, obviously. Like there's like monthly membership. Is that just to get like general access? Mm-hmm. And then you can pay for like custom shit on top.
Correct.
Is that basically it?
Simply, yeah. So it's like every girl has a chance to either do a free account or like a paid account. And that's just to like see her stuff and talk to her. So with the idea with the two options, and the girl can choose whatever, and she can switch it whenever she wants as well. So with a free account, it's essentially like an Instagram. Think of it that way, right? So you have to sign up to OnlyFans, like as a guy, and then you just follow her, right? And it's all free. And then you can see her feed posts, which is the same as like Instagram feed post, think of it that way, or like her profile, right? And typically on there, if it's a free account, she obviously won't be posting nothing crazy. It'll be like the same post as Instagram, like bikini photos, things like that. Then where the money comes in is when the guy messages her and then asks for like either a custom video or a photo, a voice note, from, and so on and so on.
But can you also have a paid, because I've seen it before, I've clicked on them and it's like, I don't know, 20 quid a month.
So most of them are paid.
So I could pay just for the standard account.
Correct.
Just for their general content, and then beyond that there's like the weird shit.
Yeah. And obviously it's interesting, and this is why I love it, bro, because it's like you can play around with it. You can do two like main methods essentially, which is it's either a free account to subscribe, but then in order for the guy to message the girl, he has to tip her. Right? Or the guy has to pay straight up first to even see the stuff, but then he can message her for free, and then he can get more stuff like in the customs and DMs. But it's very interesting where some girls can charge a lot more and some girls have to charge less. There's a lot of reasons for that, but mainly it's to do with like what has the girl already like done in the past. So for example, one of our models, she's an actual porn star. I can say her name actually, Jess West. And
I haven't heard of her, to be fair. Might have to do a little quick Google.
And there's another one, but anyway, I'll keep that one private. So obviously, because they're actual porn stars, you can find that. Actually, you might need to censor that word, corn stars.
Fine, I think we're demonetized anyway.
Anyway, right. So because they obviously do that, you can see their content for free on these websites. So
I actually find this so interesting, by the way, because we're not talking about e-commerce, but it's kind of the same principles. It's just in a different world.
Yeah.
And it's a more murky, probably intriguing world to a lot of people that are too scared to kind of ask about it.
Yeah. I remember when I done Phil Reed's podcast, the response was just insane, and Phil was asking me all the hard questions like, so are you manipulating girls into starting it?
I was like, some of those.
I was like, no, bro, because even the way you started the podcast, and I agree, by the way, bro, this industry is like, fuck me, there are so many. It's very, very one of the two. It's like you either agree with it and it's like, oh, it's cool, girls are making money, whatever, or it's like, this is disgusting, you shouldn't do it, etc. etc. If I'm honest, I'm in the middle. I understand both sides. The way I look at it, by the way, just in general, like this industry as a whole, is like, whether I do it or not is going to happen. Like somebody's going to be doing it either way. Like that doesn't matter. Is it haram? Yes. Am I Muslim? No. Like if I was, obviously I wouldn't be doing it. And there has been guys who have asked me as well, like, oh, can I start if I'm Muslim, etc. I'll literally tell you no. Like it's literally haram. Do not do it. But to me, like, I respect your religion. And I hope you can respect my opinion. Like if I'm not Christian, nothing like that. So for me, it's like, I don't have a problem with that. In terms of the girls, we do not work with girls who are just starting out. We only will work with girls who are already making kind of 10K a month and onwards. The girl who is working, the one I was talking about, working at the nightclub, she's an exception because she's a friend of a friend. My girlfriend Bex, she used to work in one of those nightclubs. But typically, we won't message a girl to like, hey, do you want to start OnlyFans? Like, you'll have to already been doing it. So it's not like we're trying to get girls into starting something that they don't want to do. And there's just so many like qualifications that we go through. So to me, it's like, and also from the guy's point of view that's paying for all this stuff, at the end of the day, he's getting faster replies, he's getting more content. So it's like everyone wins, in my opinion. I
have so many questions, but I want to go back quickly. So
sure.
When you started it, what was the period and process from you got the SMA, you do this little, I guess, pilot launch with the first girl or girls. How long did that take for you to realize that it's basically more lucrative and potentially more interesting, and then you kind of sacked off the SMA stuff? Did that just like fizzle out, or how long was that process?
I can't remember the exact date, but I know, and again, it actually wasn't like a case of like, right, I'm closing it. But I basically quit my my marketing agency. Like I mentioned earlier, I had like two law firm clients at that point, just on a monthly basis. I was getting them really good results. Yeah, it's kind of hot.
I just swallowed a fucking chili bit.
Wait, is there actual chili bits in there?
I don't know, but it felt like it.
This drink is quite hot. So I had like two law firm clients, just like going, and I can still shout them out. MD Law Firm. His name, was it Michael? Yeah, I think his name is Michael. No, Dan Murphy, that's his name. Super nice guy. He was like my longest client for law firms. Funny enough, by the way, he was actually trying to help me with my OnlyFans agency. Maddest thing ever. Just a really, really quick side note. He's a lawyer. He's a criminal lawyer, right? But he also I don't know if I can. Yeah, I think I can say this. He had like strip clubs
Really?
as well. Yeah, it's quite funny.
You probably made more money from that.
Yeah, but he was honestly one of this. And the reason why I enjoyed working with him the most, as you can imagine, he's a criminal lawyer, so he's not very like. He's wearing a suit and stuff, but he's not so formal all the time. You know, he swears. He's just like I found him just like me. Whereas all the other lawyers, they're so fucking boring. It's like why I found. Anyway, quick side note, done. So your question was, how do I kind of do the transition?
Yeah.
So I was still on not holiday, but I was traveling all around Europe, and I basically just said, look, the law firm clients, like, it's been great, but I think it's just not really, you know, going to be working out for us. I think I remember I did try. I was a bit cheeky, so I thought, fuck it, why not? Because I was going to quit it anyway. I tried to basically double the service fee because I knew they're going to say no anyway. But if they said yeah, why not? 10k service fee, I'll do it. But obviously they both said no, and I was like, fair enough, no problem. And I even helped them partner with one of my students at that point as well. So that's how I kind of got away from that. And I had like one media buyer and one staff member, so it wasn't a case of like I had a massive fucking thing going on where I had to like, you know, sell it all, etc. So it was just a really simple, just quit it. And by that point as well, I had already been making about 5-10k a month with OnlyFans management. I took on more girls. I started playing around with chatters. So essentially these would be people who would be doing the messages rather than I'm having to sit there. So it's getting already pretty hands off, and it was getting pretty lucrative.
How long did you do the messages yourself for then? Because I know I mentioned before, someone I know does it, and I think he still does it all himself, and he's showing me some weird shit.
I don't know how.
Like, how long did you do it? And like, was that weird?
About a month, and yes.
And also, like, with the content because the content you're sending the guy as the girl, have you got that like pre-made?
So yes and no. So the customs, obviously no, right? So the guy maybe literally like he'll say, can you write my name on your tits and like send it? Obviously like we'll have to, so I'm in a group chat with the girl, I'm quickly, or you know, just a WhatsApp chat with the girl, and I'll quickly ask her, hey, can you do this? Boom, instantly does it. That's how the customs would work. But we would also have like, there's a thing called the Vault on OnlyFans, and that's where you can have like it's basically like a Google Drive folder, right? And there's like just unlimited content on there. And what I realized over time was like, okay, typically guys are into like different fetishes, so I'll get the girl to create different types of content for the different fetishes, you know, like feet, ass, boobs, this and this and this, right? So she would have already pre-made like photos and videos, maybe even like, you know, voice notes of these different categories. So a bit of both. And
did she ever find that weird with like you having access to all that?
No.
Or is it just like you just get over that?
Yeah, this is the maddest thing for me. And I remember Phil asked me this as well. He was like, you must have seen it all. But I was like, yeah, when I first did, it was a bit mad, because you just see like, even now, like we'll sign up a model. I mean, for now, I don't even speak to most of them. I do after they've signed up with our agency. But it's like in the early stages, I would do a Zoom call with a girl for the first time ever. I've never met her in real life, anything like that. It was typically a referral from a friend of a friend. So she, I guess, already trusted me. But still, to me, it was just a mad concept of like speaking to a girl on Zoom for the first time ever. She says, yeah, cool, sounds good. Signs a contract with me and my agency, starts, and literally 5 minutes later sends me the login details to OF. And it's like everything is there. But
Has there ever been any where you felt like you might develop feelings or some shit?
Nah, not really.
I guess maybe it's hard to get feelings for girls that have an OnlyFans account, but that's sickening. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there any that you've been like, oh shit?
Nah, over time you kind of just not get numb to it, but it's just like, it's just the same shit. Like imagine spending a whole day on Pornhub.com. Like within 2 hours you'd be like,
a lot of guys do.
Probably a lot of guys do. It wasn't really. And obviously now as well, like we obviously have a very strict rule, like we do not ever meet up with any of the models. There's only been a couple cases where we've met them. For example, I met one of our recent ones, so Jess West. She's the porn star.
Everyone's Googling that girl who's watching this.
But she's so sound. She has a husband as well. It's the maddest relationship.
That
they're both
is niche.
They're both into like they're both porn stars. And obviously
the only way it works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I went around hers, So, but typically, no, like we don't ever meet our models. We don't really, like, you know, we obviously have a strict rule where there's by any means, like, you're not allowed to obviously have sexual intercourse with the client. It fucks everything up.
Yeah. Has that ever happened to your knowledge in like anyone that you know in the
Oh,
space?
for sure. There's one recently. I'm not going to mention because I don't want to give them any credit or clout because they're a shit agency.
Yeah.
But there's a scandal going about right now. So right now is the 4th of February. I can guarantee in about like a week or so there's going to be like a massive article or something about it. The owner of the agency, he's fucked like fucking half of their models and given them STDs.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, Tokyo.
He looked up for that.
Oh, sorry for the vulgar language, Tokyo, but yeah. So, and I've been speaking to some of the models, like you know, who
Have they all cancelled working with him?
Well, here's the thing: they can't. They're in a contract. You have to sign a contract.
Yeah.
And it's so horrible. It genuinely is fucking horrible. Like some of the girls are genuinely crying, like sending me voice notes about it. But the unfortunate truth is, like, you know, you can take them to court, but
I assume that was consensual.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's like,
It's
nothing.
not like he's
not
not paying him unless they whatever.
No. It's nothing. Fair play to, you know. It's nothing like that. But at the end of the day, like the girl genuinely, you know, had that, which is just nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. Do customers ever? Can like girls? Is it allowed to offer that on OnlyFans, like sex?
No, absolutely not.
Does that happen?
No.
Is there ever like crazy offers and shit?
There are. So I know of a method. Not a method, but it's like a strategy, I guess. And I swear to God, we've never done it or tried it, but it's like a short-term play. So you'd create an account of like this girl, and and by the way, for context as well, just so you know, and all the watchers, it's against terms and services of OnlyFans to organize meetups or to send phone numbers and all this stuff, right? So you should always keep everything strictly within OnlyFans, the chat.
Yeah.
So obviously organizing meetups is like completely forbidden. Like, do not do that. But I do know some guys who literally what they'll do is they'll create a fake OnlyFans account of a girl, like it's a real girl, but they'll create a fake account of her.
That must be so common, no?
Huh?
Is that like really common?
Actually, not really, because
you know, like verification processes and shit.
Correct, and it's getting harder and harder to verify, which to me it's fine because we actually do work with the models, but to somebody like that, it's, you know. But yeah, so you know, beforehand it was just really easy to create an account as long as you have a picture of the girl like this, like a selfie, and she's holding up the driving license or a passport. You can just create the account. Now it's a lot more difficult, which is really good. It's a good thing. But yeah, so these guys would create fake accounts of these girls and obviously pretend to be the girl and then organize fake meetups and then say, oh baby, you know, I need a visa to come here, or my flight is £600 or this and that, and obviously just scam them. That I know of that happening. But in terms of like genuinely actually organizing meetups, like no, that's obviously escorting and that's illegal. So no, we don't do that.
Yeah, fuck.
But then also I feel like you do get obviously a lot of weirdos, so you would be putting the girl at a massive risk. Like you can't do that.
And then when you said you hired chatters, where are they? And like, are they full time? Like, are they in the Philippines? I guess it's a virtual assistant for an OnlyFans business.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much, bro. Like VAs, yeah.
And are they like experienced in that specifically usually, or do you bring them into it?
So we've tried a bit of everything. When I first started, I worked with chatters in the UK, simply because like I just knew of people and girls who are either in this industry or ex-industry who've done it and then aren't doing it anymore. And that's how we first started. Obviously, with people in the UK, is they'll be of higher caliber in terms of like, I mean, English is the first language, so it's easy for them to talk and sext in English. But they'll obviously charge a lot more, you know? So it's like profit margin, etc. So then I started playing around with overseas workers. I had a lot of virtual assistants that I'd worked with when I was running my agency, my marketing agency. So I just reached out to them, seeing if they wanted to do it. Most of them said no, but they knew of people, and that's kind of how I started working with some.
And how would they get paid? Is it just like a standard salary, or are they also getting commission? So
the UK ones were on a commission. Because I realized with the smaller girls, it worked out cheaper for me to do a commission.
Yeah.
Whereas like an hourly, and also they'll be better incentivized to like log in the morning as well, if they're on a commission. But with overseas, it was just simply just an hourly. Yeah. And then with overseas, it was mainly Philippines where I worked.
Yeah. No, it's the same like e-commerce and shit, innit? It's, like, it's just the whole culture there is. I've got a mate who's got 500 plus Filipino VAs on the books.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's across like multiple shit, but it's kind of mad. And like he literally has an army and he uses WhatsApp to speak to all of them. It's fucking crazy.
The amount of love I have for Filipino people, like they're just the most nicest people. And you'll send them 100.
It's a cool country as well. I've been there once.
I have yet to visit.
It was mad.
Yeah?
I've never felt like a celebrity as much.
What do you mean?
I went to Baguio City, which is like the equivalent of going to, I don't know, fucking Stoke in the Philippines, right? So it's not like a tourist place like Manila or, I don't know, anywhere else.
Like a village?
Yeah, it was like a village on a fucking hill. And I was there for some e-commerce event like 5 years ago. But I remember we went to this nightclub and we got like, I swear we got like military grade escort there or some bullshit. And it was like £100 or something. And it was the only nightclub I've ever been to where the bouncers were like nice to us. And it was literally a case of like, which girl do you want? Like out of fucking everyone. It was just, I felt like a celebrity. I felt like I was
treating you like a royalty.
Yeah, like you're there with blonde hair and you just stand out like a sore thumb. There's some weird stories from that trip, which I probably never say on this podcast. Some very niche ones, some fucking high risk shit.
Did you ever meet like a virtual assistant out there? Did you have any from? At
the time, I probably didn't. It's just like when I was getting started. But I've always said to my mates, we should do a trip to the Philippines and meet everyone we ever worked with and like take them out clubbing and shit. It'd be so lit. So I used to have like 45 people in the Philippines when I was running the Neon brand.
Yeah.
And I always thought I'd do like a massive club night and fucking pay for everything. It'd be so lit. But
bro, I tell you what, I've done that twice now. In terms of like flying to a country where my worker is like meeting them and like taking them on a crazy like holiday basically, right? I've done it twice now. For anybody that's watching this and is like running an online business and has like overseas workers, like virtual assistants, whatever it might be, and if they're from a third world country, the annoying thing is like it's the best thing in the world for me, like for me as a person, because like for both of these guys, I had worked with them for over a year, and now it's been like one of them is over 3 years, one of them is over 2 years. To me, it's like the best thing in the world, because seeing their, first of all, just meeting them in person after being on Zoom with them for like, you know, hours upon hours upon hours, meeting them in person
I've got a few people like that now that I've never met.
Yeah, right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So meeting them in person is incredible. Then, you know, taking them to all these luxury places in their city that they could never afford to do is like, you know, and seeing their face and their reaction is just the best thing ever. But you know, it's really interesting, weird. And it's 2 for 2 for me. So maybe it's just like a coincidence for me, but for me, it's 2 for 2. After I left, they both like the work rate like is gone.
Really?
You'd think it's the opposite,
you
though,
would be
right?
the opposite.
And I think, you know, because they might watch this and you know they'll probably know who they are. You know, I'm still working with both of them. They're great people, and you know I've obviously had to bring it up like, hey, you know, why does the work rate drop? Like, what's happening here? What's happening there? And I think what probably has happened is when you go and meet these guys and they see the lifestyle, right? And you pay for like, you know, the best restaurants and nightclubs and all this stuff. They're like, oh shit. So I can afford this stuff now. I could do this now. Like one of our staff, I just paid him just shy of £7,000. He's in Serbia, bro. That's nearly $1 million, like of that Serbian. Yeah. I forgot the current lek, I think. Like a loaf of bread is like 200 or something, right? So he's living like an actual fucking king. Yeah. And I'm assuming they're just like now going out and doing all this crazy stuff. So that's just my experience. But maybe it's just maybe it's just my coincidence 2 for 2. But genuinely, it's dipped massively.
Treat him mean, keep him king. maybe that logic doesn't work.
Well, let's do it.
What the fuck is this? Space Goods, spacegoods.com, Rainbow Dust version 1, my newest entrepreneurial ecom brand venture. I spent 6 months in the trenches building this shit from scratch. We launched 6 weeks ago. What's it all about? The next generation wellness brand with a long-term vision to essentially consumerize the pending psychedelic consumer goods market, which might sound absolutely ridiculous. We're not quite there yet. The market's massively illegal. But what is this? Rainbow Dust version 1 is an all-in-one mushroom and adaptogenic blend designed to unlock your supernatural self. Essentially, experience a sharper focus, sustained energy, zen-like calm throughout the day. It's an all-in-one powder, tastes like fucking hot chocolate, tastes delicious, works great, looks great, feels amazing. Essentially, the broader concept here was to legally imitate a psychedelic microdose and, like I said, experience those symptoms. You can mix it with anything, brownies, bake brownies with it, mix it with your coffee, have it without coffee, replace your coffee, put it into a protein shake. It's super fucking versatile, it tastes great, it replaced the stack of supplements I was previously taking, but you need to try this shit. It would definitely change the way you work, get you into that deep workflow. I obviously think that myself. Plenty of 1,000+ first customers think the exact same shit. It's not just a pretty packaging, it actually works really fucking well. Keto, vegan, all that good shit. Trust me, you need to try it for yourself. Let's scale this shit to the moon. Spacegoods.com. Get on your Rainbow Dust subscription and see how you fucking feel. Let's do it for the boys. Spacegoods.com. Yeah, so on the team side, we're talking about what they call talkers, chatters. Like, how do you train them for that? Or like you said, most people have come from a job, or like they already know the industry, and like, how would you define a good chatter? Obviously, like, I suppose, like you said, being able to speak English natively probably helps a lot, because like chatting in general, but particularly like sexting, do guys ever spot that it's a chatter rather than the girl? And surely you think they'd cop onto this by now. Sure. Or is it just the clientele are a bit
it's
not quite there?
Bit of both, I guess. Yeah. So there's a lot to unwrap there. So the biggest thing to like answer everything in one go is like, can you speak any other languages than English?
Honestly, no.
Fluent, no.
I used to be like quite good at French when I was in school.
Yeah, but so let's just say
I wish I could.
Let's just take that as an example, right? If you was to be flirting in, because you can probably speak somewhat a little bit of French now, but if you was to like try and flirt in French to a French girl,
yeah,
she like, you know, it just wouldn't sound natural. It just would be a bit, especially over text, because then you can't hear the tonality and see the body language and stuff, right?
Yeah.
This the same goes for somebody from like Philippines trying to sext in English. Even though you might do a Zoom call with them and they sound incredible English and like they sound American, because most Filipino VAs they sound American. But when it comes to sexting, it just doesn't sound right for the most part. Don't get me wrong, I've had exceptions, and you do get quite a lot of exceptions as well. But for the most part, when you have somebody from a different speaking language trying to do like chatting for a different language, it just doesn't work for the most part. That being said, we still do have like two overseas chatters who are incredible. They're both from Philippines, and they are just like you wouldn't think that you're speaking to somebody from a different country.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yeah. In terms of how do we get to, in terms of like chatters, how do we find out all this stuff and where are we now? I think I mentioned earlier, like we tried English, like ones in the UK, then we tried overseas, etc. We've just found that either like gay guys from the UK, like they work really well. Because at the end of the day, what it comes down to is you need to know how to talk to a man who's horny, as mad as that sounds. Right? And funny enough, gay guys know how to do that pretty well. And also gay like guys, at the end of the day, like guys, for me, I found always like, it's a lot easier to I guess I might sound like sexist, whatever, but it's just a lot easier from my experience to tell a guy to do something and like he'll just do it. Whereas a lot of females, it depends on obviously who you're talking to, but just my personal experience, a lot of times when I tell a girl to do something, if she thinks otherwise, like she'll go and do it that way, and so on and so on. So we found like gay guys work really, really well. Or obviously ex-OF models, right? So girls who have been in the industry, they have quit for whatever reason. So that means that they have done it themselves before. They know what it is. They know how it works. Those are really, really great to work with.
Where do you find them? Because I'm guessing it's not on LinkedIn.
That's a good one. Yeah. No. So again, because this is such a like small industry, and like you said, I'm like the first guest on here, right, who's in this industry. You probably won't find many. The industry is so small, so it is mostly just word of mouth. There's a lot of Telegram groups as well, but most of it is like, if I need something, I'll just ask one person. That one person will ask like another 5, and within like a couple minutes I'll find what it is. There's not a lot of people really especially in the fucking UK. The OF scene in America is pretty big, but here in the UK it's really not that big. There's like 1 or 2 big agencies here in the UK. One of them is going through that fucking allegation I mentioned, so they're probably not going to be around for too long. So that's about chatters, but it's interesting that the chatting side of this industry is kind of like a very low-key subject, because I try not to talk about it too much, of course. Not that like it's a secret. Like at the end of the day, it's all out there. Like before I even met you, I'm sure you already knew that like that's a thing. Like you know, a lot of the time the girls.
That's what makes me think. Do the customers not think that? Right. I mean, like, I don't know if there's even a stat for this, but like how many, like what percentage of the population are paying for this? Do you know? Because obviously it's a massive industry, but I just instinctively assume it's like the fucking sort of bottom 10%, like people that can't get girls, and I don't know, maybe, or just have like niche fetishes alongside real relationships. I don't know, but I think at least the examples I've seen from other people, they are like, at least the ones that spend the most seem a bit fucking got screw loose.
I mean, bro, I think you hit the nail on the head. me and my girlfriend speak about this all the time. It's like when I first got with her, because she already knew I was doing it. I remember we had this conversation. It was like who the fuck is doing it? Who's paying for this stuff?
Because they've also got money as well. Like I've seen guys spend like £1,000 a day.
Yeah.
So they're not broke.
Yeah. A lot of like, bro, a lot of these gamers.
Combination.
A lot of these gamers who like collect like little figures of like what is it called? Not Warhammer.
Minecraft.
Very much.
Is it Minecraft? Yeah. World of Warcraft or some shit.
Dragons and Dungeons and Dragons, one of them. But yeah, they got money, bro. But yeah, to answer your question, most of the time it genuinely is, like people who, put it this way, and I said this on Phil's potty, right? It's like me and you, we might spend like fucking $2,000 on a stupid night out, but like if we're there to celebrate like one of our boys' achievement or his birthday, whatever, to me and you, it's like that $2,000, like we enjoyed it, and it's like, I wouldn't say it was worth it for the most part. Me, I don't enjoy going out much, but you know, we spend that money, cool. To somebody else who's very like introverted, maybe like a fucking nerd, and I used to be one. Like, I used to play little video games, all this stuff when I was a little kid, but to somebody who's like 27 years old, an introverted nerd who just sits at home and maybe is like a computer scientist at like fucking Microsoft and works from home, who makes like $8,000 a month, to him, he might just spend that $2,000 in a month on a bird on OnlyFans, where the girl, and by the way, this is definitely doable. Like the girl can do a Zoom call, not a Zoom call, but we do Skype calls. So the girl will do a Skype call with the guy who's subbed.
Oh, is that a thing? Is that like a premium option?
Not on OF, but it's like outside of the box, right?
Yeah.
That's something that we offer, right? So like,
and you're allowed to do that?
Grey line.
Yeah.
Grey line.
Because you mentioned obviously they can't meet them, go off platform.
Correct. Right. Yeah. So yeah, to somebody like that, they might spend. So that's kind of how, at least how I'm imagining it, right? It's like to somebody like that, they might just spend $2,000 and not think twice about doing something like that. Whereas somebody else might spend $2,000 on something that somebody else might think is stupid and silly. Yeah. So that's how I think about it. But yeah, for the most part, it probably is guys who just like can't muster the fucking confidence to go and speak to a girl in person, but they're like, oh fuck it, I'll send her some money, and they boost their self ego, I guess, right?
Yeah. And like the time of day, because you mentioned like chatters might be on in the morning or more motivated to be if they're getting commission on the shit. I would imagine surely all this goes on like in the late hours of the day, or is that not the case? Is there people literally at 7 a.m. paying for like...
There are people at 7 a.m, yeah. Well, the bigger accounts... and
do the chatters work 24/7, like, or is it, well, not literally 24/7, but... How does that work? Sure.
So it will depend from girl to girl, and that will depend on how many subscribers are obviously the equivalent of like followers, right, on OnlyFans. So it would depend on how many subscribers does the girl have. If she only has like sub 500, like less than 500, you can get away with like one chatter. And in terms of timing, you asked me, and this is for like everybody who's maybe curious, typically you'll find the busiest time is around 9 p.m. in the evening to like 3 a.m. in the morning. And then the second...
Any day of the week specifically?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. And the second peak is roughly around 6 a.m. till about 11 a.m.
Really?
In the morning, yeah. So before they go sleep and when they wake up.
You know, what, like morning glory, they're going to go pay for some shit.
Yeah, it's nuts. And one last thing you mentioned about, do they work like 24 hours? So if a girl has like 3,000 active subs, we'll have like 2-3 different virtual assistants on split rota. So they'll all be in a group chat with the model. And when one finishes, he or she will add a lot of notes to the next chatter who's about to log on, to obviously let them know, hey, I was talking to so-and-so, blah, blah. So that's kind of how we do it. And as I was just saying that, by the way, a thought just popped into my mind. You mentioned about like, why do guys like do it? Like, don't they just fucking understand that, like, you know, there's somebody chatting, etc. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I feel like half of them at least do, maybe even more. But at the end of the day, the reason why they pay is to get the custom. The money is all in the customs, right? The subscriptions are right. Like if you're a massive influencer, which we do have like one couple, I can tell you them off camera. You'll know them. They're in London. They're huge.
But are they known for this, or are they known for something else? And this is like undercover.
Yeah, correct. Second one. What you said?
Really?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, I'm intrigued.
They're also in the club scene. So again, you see how it's all like word of mouth. Like that's how we get most of our clients. But I was just going to say, unless you're like a massive influencer like they are, they got millions and millions of followers, then you make a couple grand from the subs, so like 10, 20 grand from the subs. But typically you're making 50, 60,000 just from messages and DMs. And that is literally like videos, voice notes, photos, sometimes outside of the box, maybe we do or maybe we don't do this, you can sell like used underwear and stuff from the girl. And there's just nuts amount, like stupid amounts of money in that. Like, you know, there was this mad article that came out about, you know, Belle Delphine?
Heard about it.
Bella Delphine. She actually sold fucking like jars of her water from her bath. She made
There's
millions.
a market for everything.
Yeah, exactly. She made millions from that.
Wow.
So what's interesting is a lot of people think
crazy.
that it's just OnlyFans, right? But it's not. You're actually. OnlyFans is just a small portion of it. Like for me personally, I would say OnlyFans is bringing us about 70% of the income. The 30% is nothing to do with OnlyFans. It's to do with the model, right? But it's not on OnlyFans.
Oh, so you get the 30% on everything?
No. So out of 100% of what we make per month, 70% of that is from OnlyFans. 30% would be from like different websites that we sell certain things. You can also sell photos and videos from other websites as well, not just
yeah. But you're getting a share of all the models' monetization.
Correct. Yeah. Things like Cash App as well, Amazon wishlist, things like that.
And then the actual like contracts and financial setup. So on the account, so they get whatever 100 grand. Are they then paying you an invoice of 30 at the end of the month, or are you owning the account and you pay them their 70%?
Just for context as well, just so you know, I know I mentioned 30% earlier, but for most of our models we do 50 and 50. So for most of them we do 50% is what we take. Now to answer your question, it's one of two ways. So if we're working with a model for more than 3 months, then what we'll do is we'll set up a brand new account, like a bank account online, which is in both of our names, right? So the model has full access to it, so do we. That's what we connect to the OF account, and that money, so the model has got access to it, but in order for her to access to it, it's obviously for a 2-step verification, which is our phone number. The model is obviously, she knows it. It's not like we're trying to hide anything from her, and at all times she can access it if she wants to. It's just we typically manage it after the 3rd month. That's all in a contract as well.
But in the first 3, they would just pay you.
Correct. We just invoice them. Again, some exceptions. If we are going to sign up a bigger earner model, so if a model's already making over 50k, then we'll obviously put that in place straight away. Just because there's a lot of trust obviously involved, right? And we've had this so many fucking times.
Yeah, I was going to say, has ever been they haven't paid you?
Of course,
disappeared.
of course. And I get it. Bro. Like from a girl's point of view, if you're, and this is when we're first starting out, right? This is also why we don't even entertain working with girls who are just starting out. It's just a nightmare. Which, for context, by the way, I said this on other podcasts as well. It's like, imagine, for example, Space Goods, right? So imagine if you haven't started Space Goods yet, but it was just an idea in your head, right? And I'm a marketing agency. That's you, one example. And then you have somebody like Sanucci, for example, that's been running for years, right? The equivalent of me going to a girl who's just starting out would be like me coming to you when you're just starting Space Goods and be like, right, so as you're starting it, I'm going to help you market it and this and that.
Yeah, there's no historic numbers, no proof, no context.
Correct, right? And then what if you ever change your mind as well? What if something goes south and you don't want to do the business anymore? But I've already put in like 2-3 months of like, come on, yeah, man, let's do it. Compared to like somebody like Sanucci who's been doing it for years, established business. Just go to them, right? So that's the same with like why we don't work with girls who are starting out. And when I mentioned about change of mind, that's what would happen a lot with the girls. They would either after the first month like don't want to do it anymore, or, which again I completely understand, but just avoid it by doing a contract, which is what we do now, is the first month, a normal girl who's going to uni, maybe she's making 1.2k a month from working at Tesco, right? Nothing wrong with that. But then all of a sudden she works with us, starts an OnlyFans, and she makes like 10 grand in her first month. She's going to be like, what the fuck? And then if we're taking 50%, from her point of view, instead of she gets to keep 5 grand, but she has to pay us, right? She's looking at it as, I have to pay them 5 grand now.
Perspective's different.
Correct. Yeah. Whereas what we do the other way, which is if we make now, like for example, say 50,000, we collect the 50k. We send the girl 25,000, and her mindset is, I've made 25,000, right? And
she also knows that she may have only made 10 grand before
by herself, etc. Yeah, correct. But for us, like,
fuck me, they're making a lot of easy money, these guys, aren't they?
it's just ridiculous, bro.
It's actually crazy when you think like a fucking lawyer might make 100 grand a year.
Yeah.
Or maybe 300 grand if they're a big lawyer in the city, like 30 grand a month. And a fucking girl is sat there doing arse pics, making that kind of money.
It's nuts.
It's crazy.
The biggest one that I've seen with my own eyes, and like I've looked around on the profile, was 1.2 million per month.
Per month?
Earning, yeah. Riley Reid.
Oh, I know of her.
Yeah.
May have heard that name. 1.2 million a month.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. That's like the biggest Premier League wage.
Nuts. Yeah.
That's like 300k a week.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think Black China is still, unless it's changed now, but I know Black China was like at the top. If I remember correctly, it was about 20 million a month.
Fucking hell. 20 million a month.
Crazy
That's like Ronaldo and fucking Al Nassr money. Put that in perspective.
How crazy is that?
That is mad. So on the payments and shit then, say a girl you've got now 50 grand a month, like what does that break down into, like how many transactions and like how much would a sort of thing cost? I don't know, like different levels of most premium shit.
Yeah. So this will completely vary from girl to girl, right? So remember how I mentioned earlier, we have like porn stars who their customs and just it's called a PPV, like pay-per-view, right? So you'd essentially send out like the same photo and the video to all of her subscribers, which is called like a pay-per-view. Also, how it works, by the way, for anybody who's never used the app and can't visualize it, once you subscribe, you can message the model, which is kind of like an Instagram DM, just to keep it simple. I imagine it that way. And it's just text, right? Back and forth. Then if let's just say you want like a specific video of a girl doing whatever you want her to do with your maddest imagination, right? You will obviously ask her to do the certain thing. And then there's one or two ways how the model can do it. She can either ask you to tip first and then she creates the content. So if it's like a really weird or like a really detailed custom where she has to like, take her time out of the day to really create it rather than just a quick, like that, she will then ask for the tip up front. And then the guy will have to tip. Then she creates the video or the photo and then she sends it and you can see it straight away. Or the other way, which is just like if a guy just wants like his name written on her ass or her tits, she'll just quickly do it, send the photo, but it'll be like blurred out, like he won't be able to see anything, like, so it's like it's like gray blurred out, and there's a lock button or lock icon in the front of it, and then the guy has to obviously tip whatever the amount that girl chooses, so it's $50, $60, etc. So that's like how it works. In terms of your question, which is like, so how much do they price it? It genuinely varies. So some of our porn star models, like they're like an actual full-on porno of them getting fucked for like 5-10 minutes, that might only sell for like $15, $25, $30.
Really?
Whereas we have like that model who used to work I don't know if she still does at the nightclub. I don't think she still does anymore, but like we still are selling. Like I will let me see if I can log into it, and I just so people can.
Do you have like mass login like on Instagram?
Yeah. Well, I have it noted down. I just want people to see like your live reaction, right? But girls like her, we're selling like just pictures of her ass for $100, right?
Really?
At scale.
What, like custom ones?
No. Same photo.
Fucking hell.
I will literally show you right now.
I'm in the wrong business.
So it really...
All guys are.
It really varies, bro. But yeah, this industry is just absolutely nuts.
What's the most expensive custom or whatever that you've seen in your group?
Probably 1,000 or 1.5k. Probably 1,000.
And what was that for?
It was just a custom video. It's pretty fucking weird, but
and who's naming the price as well? Because if a custom comes in and the chatters are on, are they naming it, or have you got like rules written down and tariffs or whatever?
Great question, bro. So you asked me this like earlier when you were talking about chatters. To be honest, you said do you train them, like how does that work? So first of all, we obviously qualify them. So we get a lot of applications. A lot of it is just like my Instagram DM, hey, you hiring right now? If you're running an OnlyFans agency, no, brother, I'm not going to hire you because I know what you're going to do. You're just going to come on, try and learn from me and then dip. I'm not stupid. So, we're not going to really entertain something like that. But if it's, let me see, I think this might be it.
This is actually genuinely interesting. I feel like I'm learning more than I've learned in any episode. It's just an industry I don't know.
So this
but
is...
it's the same principles as any marketing, really.
You know, it's really interesting, bro. I have a YouTube channel, right? Which is like the same as my name. And I have a video which is literally titled like why I quit SMA to start OFM, right? OFM stands for OnlyFans Management. That video is like the one that I've done the best, like 33,000 views. It's like a 16-minute long video. And pretty much the whole point of what I was trying to get across, and I'm people definitely got it, which was it's just interesting. Like you said it yourself, like you're learning so much. I think what comes interesting isn't fucking news and like the pictures of titties and shit, because you get over it over time. What's really interesting is like at the end of the day, it's just the same as any other business model, but it's just fucking in a different industry that nobody has tapped into yet. It's
the biggest industry ever, isn't it? Sex, basically, like sexual desire, at least.
Bro, and how long has it been about? Like just the industry of pornography and every
sex. Person is a potential customer. Right. Because every person, well, you know, they have desires and urges and shit. So you're trying to find me the most mad thing.
No, just in terms of earnings, just so you can see kind of how frequently. So do you want me to just pass the phone over? Because I was going to explain. I'll do this, right? Yeah. I don't know if people can still hear me. So what you're seeing here, this is like the earnings. Let me talk into the mic.
I feel like this was properly edited. We'd fucking screen record this and put this on. That's some bullshit.
The only thing is you'd have to blur out the names, the blue ones. Yeah. I'll record it, but if you are going to put it, you have to blur out the names, obviously.
Right. I'll ask him. We're trying to up the production for this one. Make it a TikTok clip.
So on the left-hand side, this is the time, and this is how frequently they're coming in. This middle one where it says amount is obviously how much the guy has paid. So
this is just one girl.
Yeah. Oh, this is just one girl in about a couple of hours. So $100, $30, $20, $20.
And they take 20% fee platform by the looks of it.
The OnlyFans does, yeah. Which is nuts, by the way. It's crazy. You see why we try to make money outside of OF now, right? Because that we just take 100. So yeah, there's look 100, another 100, look 100 in 200 in about what is that? About an hour, to be honest.
So how much like yesterday would this girl have done?
Let's have a look.
Or like on an average day?
On average, I know she does about 800. But
mad.
This is like not a big earner. The biggest one is about 3.4 thousand in 24 hours that were done.
So like 120k a month. Yeah. Fuck. So your current roster then, how big is that, and how wide ranging is that?
This is a big misconception. A lot of people think that in order to make a lot of money in this industry, you need to have a lot of clients, which I understand why you have that thought process, which I did as well, because coming from an SMMA background, because it's just a retainer up front, they pay you. In order to make more of money, you just need more clients. Pretty simple, unless you're doing ROAS deals, obviously, with ecom, which I wasn't. With this, because it's all technically a ROAS deal, right? The easiest way to describe it to like ecom boys, you don't need to have like 20 clients, 30 or 50 clients, which we've tried, by the way, and it's a fucking logistical nightmare, because the more clients you have, aka the more girls you have, the more problems you have. Each girl has like 3 different social medias. On each social media she has like 5 different accounts. Then on OF itself she'll have like customs every single day. What if the social media account gets banned? Then the girl has to it's a logistical nightmare to manage it all. You have to hire more people, which ruins your profit margins. So anyway, long story short, you don't need to have fuck ton of clients. And I say this all the time, all you need to do is have about 5 to 10 clients who tick all your boxes. And for context as well, because I know everyone's probably curious, so how many do I have? We have about 7 clients right now. Now, in terms of the boxes, what do they need to tick? I've made a YouTube video about this before. But essentially it's like, so how often, like how many hours can she put into this? So for us, they need to be doing this full time. If they're doing this as like a little part-time thing after uni, be my guest, but it's not worth our time. What explicitity of level of content can she do? You know, is she just posting bikini photos? Because if she is, again, be my guest, all the power to you, but it's not worth our time, because you know, a girl like that doesn't make as much money as like somebody who just does some mad shit. Also, like, you know, little things, I'm not going to bore people, but little things like what kind of phone does she have, or camera, right? So if she has an old like Galaxy, which isn't the end of the world, like, you know, we can always buy them a new phone, but that comes into play. What country is she from? All these little things. And also like, what niche is she from? So like a gamer girl might make a lot more than somebody who's just a typical, you know, girl who's maybe like 30 something years old. Or obviously if she looks young, she makes more as well.
Yeah. So many questions come up right now. And then, like, is she working hard?
Yeah.
Because like you say you want her full time. Because my maybe outside perception previously, which might have been wrong, is that they make the content pretty much once. They put it in the vault, whatever. Do the odd custom, but they're just sitting at home watching Netflix all day, making 50 grand a month. Is it not that?
That's another misconception, bro. Yeah, they work very fucking hard. Yeah. Because, again, remember how I said most of the money is in the customs? So my business, right, my agency, Aura, our job is to, essentially we manage the model. But what does that really mean? So the main part of it is, it's our job to get as many people to visit her OnlyFans and subscribe. Then from there on, the other department of our business is the chatting, right? So we manage all the DMs. Now, this is basically the top of the funnel, which is the marketing, and obviously the conversion is the DMs.
Yeah.
Now, when the conversion happens, aka somebody tips or pays or wants to get a custom, obviously the girl has to make that content then, right? So only like 10-20% of the sales are pre-made photos and videos. Most of it is she has to do something there and then and create an organic piece of content. And that's also why most guys are like on OnlyFans. Like they probably know that most of the time, like they're not talking to the girl, especially if she's a mad influencer, unless like they can't put two and two together. Yeah. But because they even know that, it doesn't matter, because they're like, cool, I want to see her do some madness. I want her to do this. How much? Right, say the price and she'll do it.
And it's still a custom thing, even though it's not her messaging, because she's ultimately doing the thing.
And remember this as well, right? And everybody listening, it's all good and well she's doing the customs on OnlyFans for her subs. She also still has to create content on social media.
Yes, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah.
So how involved do you get in at the very top of funnel, which I guess is in most cases, what is it, Instagram for most of them? And do you do any paid stuff? Or is it purely they have a following, it's a link in bio, whatever?
Yes, paid stuff, not as all of you guys probably imagine it in terms of like Facebook and Instagram ads.
What's the CAC on a fucking horny middle-aged man? That's what I want to know.
No, so mainly it's like paid advertisement on Instagram and GGs. They're called guaranteed gains, right? Yeah. So typically what will happen is you will go ahead and go to a different model. So let's just say my model right now is at 5,000 subscribers on OnlyFans, right? Which by the way puts her well above 0.1%. Well, it depends on how much she's earning, but for us it is. So if she is at 5,000 subscribers and 0.01% on OF, do you know how the percentages work or no? It's essentially how much she's making. The more she makes, the less of a percentage she's in. So if you're in the top, like the same as I know, say
so
top 1% of men.
Like the elite.
Yeah, right? So like the smaller the percentage, the better she's doing in terms of income, all right? So anyway, so let's just say our model is at 5,000 subscribers and she's in the 0.01% on OnlyFans, right? In terms of earnings. Then our job as an agency would be to find another model. Ideally, well, she definitely needs to have at least the same stats, and then ideally she needs to look the same as the model as well. So if our model is like a blonde, short girl, big tits, for example, we need to find another girl who looks very, very similar to that. Then we go to her and we'll essentially ask her how much for a guaranteed gains of, let's just say 500. What that means, by the way, is...
Yeah, I never heard of that. What is that?
So guaranteed gains, essentially the other model is guaranteeing that she will get 500 gains, aka subscribers, to my model's account, right? So how does that work, if people are wondering? Essentially, the model that I've just paid, she will keep posting and promoting my model until she has gained an extra 500 subscribers.
Oh, interesting.
And typically it's through a free link. So this is another thing for, I know I'm probably educating so many people. Let's just say the model has a $20 subscription fee, which that one did, the one I just showed you. She can create like like affiliate links?
Yeah.
Kind of like, essentially it's an affiliate link with like a discount code. And typically these guaranteed gains are like 100% off for the first month. Discount link. So I will go to a different girl who I'm not managing, but she's the same statistics as mine. I will pay her with my money, like as an agency, to promote my model until my model hits the 500 extra subs. So she'll go from 5k to 5.5k, for example. So that's, in terms of paid advertisement, that's one of them. Obviously Instagram shout outs.
And are these just like big influencers, like you said, that look similar, but they just have loads of followers? Is that...
Sorry, say again.
So when you're finding the girls to do the guaranteed gains promo, is it just like you said, you've got a blonde OF client, you find a model that looks similar, that's got a big following, that can drive the traffic.
Yeah.
But you don't do any paid stuff on the actual OF models Instagram, or do you do that?
You mean in terms of like paid ads, like on Instagram?
Well, yeah, like is it basically what's the best way for them to get signups? Is it often from their own page, or is it doing these guaranteed gains things with these other big pages?
Yeah, second one. Yeah. But then again, there's so much to talk about in terms of that. Like, there's also bots for like Tinder and Bumble.
Yeah, I mean, I've fucking had these before, innit? Like,
yeah. So this is gonna blow so many of you guys' minds, right? So how many of you?
This is a whole other world of acquisition.
Yeah. So how many of you? Because it's all about the black hat, right? So it's like outside of the box thinking, and this is what I fucking love because it's new and it's interesting, and I'm such a geek when it comes to marketing. Like, I love it. So this will blow a lot of your minds, right, lads? So how many times have you guys been on fucking Tinder just swiping along, and you see like this bird, she's so fit, and you swipe and you match her.
Such a shame.
No, and you match her and you're like, yo! You go into her account, right? You go into the bio and you see, oh my God, her Instagram is there. Yes! You go into her Instagram and then you see that she's got a link in her bio.
I get followers probably every day off these accounts on Instagram. And like for 1 second I think,
yeah,
it's got a fucking link.
So that's one. Another one. This I promise. This has probably happened to all you lads, and unfortunately, I am the fucker that's doing this. But it works, man. Another one. How many times have you guys gone into your Instagram story, right? And you see a fit bird has liked your story. You're like, who's this? I have never seen this bird before. Yeah. You click on it. It's a brand new account, and she's got like 2 followers, but she's got a link in her.
5,000.
Yeah. Nah. So that is another one. Obviously, the mass DMs, it used to work, but nowhere near as well now. Like about a year ago, 2 years ago, it worked really well. Like mass DMs, such as like you go into your requested folder and you see a fit bird that said something. That one
all the time.
And then another one on Instagram. And
who's falling for that as well? But I guess it's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game.
7,000 DMs, you get 10 signups.
Oh, bro, the story one is nuts. The story we actually launched a new one today, this morning. Yeah. The girl went from like 367 followers to just shy of 1,000 with just the story likes method.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that a bot doing that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So essentially, what you do is you find as many Instagram @ handles of other OF models, and again, ideally the most similar looking ones. If everyone's wondering like, why do I keep saying similar looking? Because obviously, if our model is like young looking, a blonde girl with big tits, but then we find another one who is like, I don't know, a brunette, 40 years old, like a MILF. Those same followers, exactly, right? So typically we find like about 1,000 Instagram @ handles who girls are similar looking, and then this bot will just go through all of their followers who are following these girls and go into their profile, like the guy who's following them, and if the guy has an Instagram story, it'll automatically pop up the story and like the story, and that's it. Move on to the next one, and it does that fucking like millions of times.
Yeah, and do you find, because obviously everyone does have a type. I mean, I certainly have a type. People take the piss out of me because it's such an obvious type. It's like so consistent in my life. But like, do you find a certain type of, in the industry broadly, but also your clients, is there a certain type of girl that makes the most money?
No, bro, there's a niche for everything. Well, funny enough, the more niche it is, the more she'll make. So for example, we've just recently signed
passionate fans.
Yeah. Like we recently signed a transgender model.
Oh wow!
Yeah, wow, indeed. it's different worlds. Yeah. It's
so who's going for that? Is it other trans people?
I couldn't tell you. I'm assuming so. Like I said, I genuinely at this point, like I barely speak to the clients. The only ones that I speak to now are still like the ones that we've worked with for like a year before we started building like essentially like a massive team. But like for example. So the girl, what's it called? The girl that worked at the nightclub, I don't really speak to her. I just know of her because she's a friend of my girlfriend. Yeah. And this trans model that we recently signed, I haven't spoken to her because it was a guy that went and become a girl. But yeah, in terms of, so I don't see the statistics, I don't see the people that are following, right? But I'm assuming so, yeah. But to answer your question, who makes more? It is the more niche, the better. Like, because the more niche following, actually, what's really interesting. Here's a thought that just came into my mind. We personally haven't done it yet, but I've seen other agencies work with them. Essentially, there's a niche. I want to say BDSM, maybe I butchered that. Essentially, where like guys like to be like talked down upon and like say, oh, you're this and you're that, madness. But long story short,
dominated.
Yeah, it dominated. Yeah. And essentially that niche makes bank because obviously like the girl will literally be like, oh, you piece of shit, you think $500 is enough?
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not doing that. But like these guys like that. These guys are into that, which is nuts. It's just a fetish. Again, like same as like a foot fetish. But I know for a fact that niche makes bank. We just haven't had a model like that yet.
That is mad. And how big is the spread between the 7 you've currently got in terms of earnings?
Yeah.
Are they all like fairly similar, or have you got like a big fish?
Nah. On average, they're doing about 30,000. The average one, 34,000.
It's crazy money. Yeah, actually think about it.
Yeah.
And that's obviously, like you said, well, that though, obviously you mentioned something doing 20 million a month, fucking unicorn, but it's 30,000 a month still in like, out of every account, they're still like the top 1%.
Oh, yeah. I Googled this literally because I was just in Turkey literally, like 2 days ago. I literally just got back. And how did this conversation come up? I think me and my girlfriend were talking about something. And she was like, no, that seems about average income. Because there was a girl that was on like 1,000, I think, 1.2 thousand a month, like she was making. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. It seems about average. And I was just curious. So I Googled, what is the average income on OnlyFans? What do you reckon it is?
Bet it's lower than you thought.
Yeah.
It's like with everything though, isn't it? You become accustomed, and it's the same with like e-commerce. You look at the guys that are making millions, and then you hang around with them or whatever, you become them. And you have to remember, like, I don't know, there's 2 million Shopify stores. There's probably 1.98 million of them make £100 a month. Do you know what I mean?
So same with this. It's $180, which is the average. Yeah.
And how many accounts are there worldwide? Is that like public knowledge?
So a Google statistic says there's 1.7 million active creators. That is. So there's 180 million users, I believe. But there's 1.7 mil creators. Now I don't know if, again, it could just be a case where like 600,000 of them is just an account that's been created. A girl has created an account, but it's never actually posted, but it's still an active account, right? But yeah, the average is $180, which is just nuts. But to answer your question,
that makes more sense though, because obviously not every girl's gonna fucking make 30 grand a month.
Yeah,
I mean, at least I hope they're not. I mean, it's just too easy.
The average that we see, like when girls reach out to us, is about 2,000.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask that. Like, what's your process for? Well, I suppose, do you even want to expand to more people, or do you want to get more money out of each person? And also, if you are getting in new people, like, what's the process for like onboarding them and outreaching?
It's very rare that we'll actually take somebody on now. There's a couple of reasons. So the first one is just because I think I was saying this to you off camera. I'm just in a very cushy part of my life right now. Like, I'm making a decent amount of money. Again, I'm sure people are curious. So, and I swear to God, I'm not saying it to impress you, because to me, I know it sounds nuts, but to me it's like not impressive anymore. But when I first started, to me 10 grand was like, that was my milestone. But yeah, to me at the moment we're making about 100, and last month was 103,000.
So that's your percentage?
A business as a total we took, which is, and I have a business partner as well for context, so I take 50% of that, but that was gross as well. So expenses aren't too much in this industry. Again, most of our chatters are on a commission, so the more money we make, the more they make. But yeah, so for me, it's kind of like I don't want to grow it massively, because it's not really a thing that I could exit from, I don't think.
I was going to get onto that.
Yeah.
Like, where do you see? Do you have a plan for how long you do it? Like, obviously, you said you don't want to expand it, but like, surely you could get it to like, is it possible to get it to $1 million a month? Because then it's fucking. You wouldn't even need to exit. You do that for a few years. For sure.
Oh, it's a massive cash cow business right now. Yeah. But we do have a plan. So the plan, essentially, without saying, I guess this, I'll just say it for the first time, right? I haven't said this anywhere else. So we do have like essentially like a 3-step plan. So step 1 is essentially what we're doing right now, like the actual management agency. Yeah. Step 2 is building a massive community, which is what we're doing with the coaching side of it. So we have a Discord group of about 15,000 people, maybe 16,000 by the time you're watching this.
I need to learn this Discord shit.
Yeah.
Everyone watching the pod wants the fucking pool party fucking Discord.
Do it, man.
I just don't have a clue what I'm doing with that shit. Like an old man.
Everyone pressure him into doing a Discord. Yeah, it's great. It's a cool community, man. So stage 2 is to build a massive following and a massive community of people who genuinely are like serious about this industry, who aren't just there to fuck about, and who genuinely want to build a business with this, right? Which is what we've got going on. It's incredible. Stage 3 is to essentially launch a competitor to OnlyFans.
Wow.
Bro, the website is just arse. Like you saw it then when I was, look, it'll probably still be doing it right now. Look, it's still loading.
Yeah, I saw that. Why is it doing that?
It's still loading. And also look how slow, look at it. Just
the
looks.
founder, he's English, isn't he?
Yeah.
Tim Stokely, I think.
Yeah, Tim Stokely.
I want to get him on the pod.
Yeah.
He must be a billionaire from this shit.
You know, it's not that difficult to reach.
Really?
I'll try and put you in.
So I just assumed it was some West Coast, like San Francisco guy or whatever.
It's owned by an American company now.
Really? Oh, so you sold it?
Oh, yeah. Exited.
Hundreds of mils or what?
Bill. I think it was Bill.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. But yeah, so props to him,
crazy.
but the app itself is just so fucking slow and it's just shit. It's also down all the time. Like, when I say all the time, bro, I genuinely mean every day. Every fucking day.
Do you reckon there's some logic to that? Like, you think if they're 6 years old, fairly established.
That's what I think.
There's hundreds, billions going through it. Must be tens of billions of like gross numbers going through it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fucking work.
It's interesting now that you said that, maybe, but I can't imagine because it's random. It's not a certain time and it's random. And also, there, like, you know how I told you there's a mass messages that you can send out?
Yeah.
Bro, it'll take like 20-30 minutes to send out. Like, so you type the message, you tap all subscribers, and then you press send, and it'll just fucking go like this for like 20 minutes till it sends. Like,
that's crazy.
Whereas, you know, like Instagram,
they're just keeping the overheads low.
Probably.
They're not doing a Twitter with 100,000 people sat on a fucking sofa playing ping pong.
Probably. But genuinely, the site is just shit, it's boring. They take 20%, which is nuts, bro. At big numbers, that adds up. Like, we've lost hundreds of thousands.
Is it a monopoly though currently?
Yes, big time. Yeah, big time.
How do you see it feasible to?
Cool. So,
my dog wants the cocktail. How do you compete with that? Because I guess sounds like trying to compete with Instagram or something.
Yeah, in a sense. But you got to remember, OF has only been about since 2017. It's recently gone through a transition. Do you remember, and I don't know if this is a fact, but I think it is. Do you remember when there was a massive scandal about 2 years ago now, when OnlyFans made a rule and it was public about...
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
Interestingly enough, I'm pretty sure that was just before the exit. And I think what he done...
I remember reading about this.
I think he done that on purpose because he knew...
They said it couldn't be any
explicit content anymore.
Content.
Right?
Everyone was like, hold on, that's literally what the platform is.
Right? And obviously Tim knew that. And I don't know if this is a fact, obviously, but I think he probably knew he was going to exit. He needed to boost the engagement, the visitors of the website, the creators, right? He probably thought, what can I do to just make this thing go fucking viral? And he probably done that, made it go viral. Visitors just spiked. Investors thought, all right, fair enough, like, yeah, you know, I'll probably buy it for this much now. I think that's what happened. But to answer your question, like, what can we do different? So first of all, OnlyFans. So I know a girl who is like, I think she's literally the 40th creator ever to start. So she knows Tim like on a friends basis. And she said like the first month there was about 150 creators ever on the platform with the first month. And it was just very, very slow growth, like 200, 300, etc. For us already, we have like 15,000 guys in our Discord who are like to be agency owners. This is the free Discord I'm talking about. So let's just say only 10% of that is like actual guys who have an agency, because everybody wants to join these Discords and think they're doing well, but they're not. So anyway, our goal is to essentially find 1,000 agency owners who are serious and who are actually, you know, running the business. And on average, they got about 10 models. Yeah. So that means around 10,000 potential clients. And on launch day, we'd essentially give them an exclusive reason or a percentage on why they should move their models over to our platform. Because you've got to think, bro, if your model is even if she's making fucking 10 grand a month, 20% of that, you know, compared to, imagine if I said...
Is there no real value other than it's what everyone uses to actually be on OnlyFans? That ultimately, it's their own traffic source.
Correct, right? And this is, I was speaking to Jess, who's the porn star, right? She said the biggest thing that she's, the difference between, because she was in porn for like, well, she still is. She was in porn for
Everyone's Googling that. I'm going to do that as well.
She was in porn for what, like 15 years? Like I said, she still is. But she said the difference between that and OF is like with the porn industry is she would get paid like straight up. She would go and do the shoot and that's it. She's made her money. With this, she not only has to create the content herself, She has to do the marketing herself. She has to sell it herself. And it's just crazy. There's a big difference. But to answer your question, bro, so like, is there anything else to OF other than, you know, like just OF? The biggest thing with it is, like you said, it's a monopoly and everybody knows what OnlyFans is. Everyone trusts to go on there. You know, if a girl was on, I don't know, onlyfriends.com, guys might think, I don't know if I trust me putting credit card details into this and so on. But for us, so the big goal, bro, and this will probably change because I don't like to publicly say like my moves, so I'm happy to say this one because it's just an idea out of like 100 we have. But we essentially want to create like a Love Island but for OnlyFans stars. So you get like 5 guys, 5 girls in a villa in Marbella, cameras everywhere, and when they go to, and just basically like Love Island, right? But when they go to sleep, you go into our website to see like the exclusive content. So that would be on launch day. But that's just, I swear to God, that's literally 1 out of like 100 ideas that we have for launch. Another one, which is like, and again, I'm happy to say this one and I'll leave it there because I'll talk to you off camera about it. But another one would essentially be like integrating Tinder in a sense. Because right now, the only way how you can find other models on OF is outside of OnlyFans. There is a search function in OnlyFans, but it's dog shit. Like, it doesn't really work. So our goal, or one idea at least, is our platform would essentially be kind of like a Tinder integration where you can go on there and you can essentially swipe and whatever model you want. If you just swipe up, for example, you pay for her subscription and you're in. And that's how you'd essentially, once the client is on the website, he's going to be more likely to spend a lot more. Compared to just subscribing to one girl.
And the other function would be swiping to find girls that you might subscribe to.
Yeah.
There's not actually a dating thing.
No,
yeah. Fuck yeah, I mean, that sort of thing, if you can build something even remotely threatening to OnlyFans, that's where they would just buy it.
Completely agree. And there is a couple already, like Fansly, FanView.
I was going to say, how competitive is this space?
In terms of competitor to OF?
Well, I guess agencies like yourself, but also other platforms, because there must be a lot of smart people that have realised there's a shitload of money in sex and sexual desire. So,
first one, just to rule out, because it's a really quick conversation, which is apps. You can't have an app on the App Store which is anything to do with explicit content. It's just not allowed. So that's why, by the way, if people are wondering, why don't OnlyFans have an app?
I never even thought of that. Is it just a website?
Yeah, it's just that they only have a website. Yeah, that's another thing, by the way, which I want to something. There's got to be some loopholes you can fucking pull and have an app. Because if you have an app, I feel like that would help a lot. Because again, I think the reason why it's so slow and clunky is because it's a website. You have to use it on Safari or Google Chrome app on your phone. So in terms of app stores, there's obviously literally zilch. There's nothing. In terms of competitors to OnlyFans itself, I only know of like big ones, about 3. The rest of them are like wishy-washy, and there is a lot of other competitors in the industry, but it's nothing like. So there's one for like just feet finder. It's literally just pictures for like feet. Bro, people make bank from that.
Don't know people are getting off feet, but it seems to be a common one.
People make bank from that. There's my pics, like with an X. Bro. You're missing out. This is a juicy episode.
OnlyFans. Oh shit! I'm actually learning so much shit.
Yeah, you came in just at the right time, bro.
We're gonna clip every second of this. It's gonna go viral as fuck.
So there's other ones which aren't like direct competitors to OnlyFans, but they are in the industry of like explicit content selling, right? And the last one you said about agencies. I mean, now that I've started it, and I don't mean to sound like a cocky dickhead, but like I swear to God, I've started this fucking pandemic of guys like starting an OnlyFans. It does feel to me, even though I'm not in it, like the new SMMA. Yeah. It's the new wave, bro. There was it's funny as well, and it's all this is why I love YouTube as well on social media, because it's all documented. There's dates and everything on it. You can't fake that. There's a YouTube video which you can go watch, which I think is the one I was mentioning, which is why I quit SMA to start OFM. Yeah. In that video, you can see when I uploaded it, I literally say, I'm pretty sure I'm like one of the only people to start this and call it OFM. Are you the Iman of the OnlyFans space? Now, props to E-Man, but I mean, yeah, I guess the Ty Lopez of this industry. The Ty Lopez. But yeah, on that video, I literally say, like, it's funny because I bet you're going to see now people calling it OFM. Nobody called it OFM until I started.
Yeah,
I swear to God, that wasn't a term.
Instead of SMA,
yeah, that wasn't a term. But anyway, like, to answer your question, which is there a lot of competitors in terms of the agency space? The same as what you mentioned about ecom, there's fucking probably not millions for us, but there's millions of ecom stores, but there's only this many who are actually above making 10k profit a month, right? Yeah. The same thing with us, and that goes for everything in life. The same as if you buy an online course, out of the hundreds of people that go through it, maybe a small percentage would actually really be successful. Yeah. Same as university, out of 30 kids that go to uni, maybe just one of them will actually get the job that they were, planning to get while they got the degree. So it's the same with everything. In the UK, as I mentioned earlier, there's probably one or two big, or two or three, I know three, who are big agencies. It's massive in the States, huge in Miami, LA, Hollywood. Yeah,
it's massive. A mad one. I think it's definitely smart to try and. I guess you're trying to go into like the fucking platform side, which definitely is smart in general. Like if you can fucking own Shopify instead of own a dropshipping store. Obviously, there's like in betweens, but is that because just like a personal preference, or you think there's a ceiling with the management stuff? Obviously, you said you don't plan on scaling it too much because like life feels good or whatever. But is that because you don't think you can, or you just think there's more opportunity in building a platform and owning it a bit more?
Who was it?
And obviously the community as well.
Yeah. Kieran, E-Man just recently bought a SaaS company from a guy called Kieran something, or no?
I don't know, to be fair. I haven't heard about it.
So I forgot what it was called, bro, but I literally watched it in Turkey like 2-3 days ago, a YouTube video. So I follow this guy called Kieran, and he built media kits. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Media kits. But E-Man didn't buy media kits. It was something else. And it was basically like, do you know about Go High Level?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was essentially, from what I understood, it was essentially like a kind of like an extension to Go High Level. But essentially what it done is basically would help you look at all of these sub accounts from like a what's it called? A dashboard. And you can have like a bird's eye view of all of them rather than clicking into each one. From what I'm understanding, that was the premise of it. Yeah. Fair play. I don't know why you fucking wanted to buy that, but yeah. All the props to Kieran as well, by the way. Fair play to the guy. He's a young guy. He's like 24 years old and multi-millionaire. Anyway, so it wasn't because I watched Kieran's video, because I have had this idea way before, but that just reminded me, and I was just like, the thing is, like, I'm sure you're probably the same as me, bro. Like, owning a Ferrari or owning a Lamborghini or owning like one nice house is like cool and all, but bro, I want like Elon Musk level of fucking power, bro. This is not about, I swear to God, it's not about money. Because like, bro, don't get me wrong, I'm not that rich. Like, I'm not rich at all, actually, no. But like, I make a decent living, right? But there's not much, like, I don't ever want to buy a Lamborghini. I don't ever want to buy a Ferrari. I don't give a fuck about it, because I know as soon as I purchase that car and I drive that car off of the curb of the dealership, I've lost like 30-40 grand. And to me, from a kid who comes from poverty, I just can't bring myself to do that. Like the nicest thing that I've bought, like actually owned myself, is probably this watch, and I know it's probably going to hold its value.
Watches are one of very few things that are sick, but actually make sense financially to a degree, especially if you buy the right ones.
Boost your status, I guess, right? Yeah. But then also hold your values. Like I said it on the video when I went to purchase it, it's like the way I justify it is like, it's the same as putting 15 grand in a bank account, but it's just on my wrist and I get to enjoy it.
Exactly.
But I have a mad story about this. Yeah, just I've never said this before, bro. Literally never, because it sounds so bullshit, and I bet you none of them will believe it.
Which model is that?
The Rhodium Dial 41 mil.
Oh yes, yeah. I've got some mates that are seriously into watches. I bought my first fancy watch like 5 years ago, then I got it nicked off my wrist a month later.
Okay, so here.
It was actually in Barcelona.
Okay, so
that was my first Rolex, and then I bought like 5 more, and then I sold a few of them, whatever. But I mean, I've got nothing on the level of some of my mates watch-wise.
Yeah.
They're buying shit that is worth 3 times that the second they walk out.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I just, But anyway,
so this,
it's
bro,
a cool world.
I had, so I went to, where was it? Not Milan, Naples. Naples, Italy.
I want to go to Italy more. I've been once.
Don't go to Naples, bro. If you do, don't bring your watch. So, but I swear to God, it sounds so bullshit. But actually, I have photos so I can show you as evidence because nobody will believe it. It sounds so nuts. So
I saw you were driving some fucking new Ferrari in Naples. Which Ferrari was that?
The F8.
I'm a massive car guy.
F8 Tributo.
F8, sick.
Bro, I tell you what,
I've never driven one of them.
In terms of Ferraris, I've driven that and the 458. The 458.
I had a 458 for a year.
Oh, you had it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the 458 was more fun. As
naturally aspirated.
Yeah, correct.
F8's hybrid, right?
Yeah, correct. And also it's got so many filters and shit on it. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
The interior is sick though. I like the steering wheel.
As a car, the F8 obviously is miles better because it's newer.
I think Ferraris are so much more sick than Lambos. It's like you have to get cars to like Ferraris. A Lambo is like a status thing. A Ferrari is a car thing.
Correct. I want to get bro. There was a super fast that we drove past, and I was like, oh my.
I've driven an F12 in LA before, and that was ridiculous. I can only imagine what an 812 is like.
Yeah. So in terms of the story, then, brother, I went to Naples, Italy, for my birthday. Me and my business partner Harry, we went there for my birthday. And obviously, because of my birthday weekend, we thought, fuck it, might as well go all out because. So we got this Ferrari F8 Tributo for like a week. We went on like this yacht. We went like shopping, Louis Vuitton, all this stuff. Like we're literally living like just dickheads. We were just living it out, right? Just for a week. Because like me, I'm the most boring person ever. I know it probably sounds like I'm like this mad like fucking guy with all these.
That's honest.
Yeah, it probably sounds like I'm like this guy with all these girls and like I'm this pimp, this and that. Bro, I swear to you, I'm the most boring fucker ever. But anyway, but every now and then I like to have fun, right? Because you have to. Why else are you making all this money? I've retired my mum. The reason why I was in Turkey, I bought her like teeth. I literally paid for the whole thing. So like I do all this stuff for my friends and family. So like sometimes I want to enjoy myself, right? And it was my birthday. So anyway, we're there. For context as well, it was literally the day before I flew to Naples is when I got this. From A Jewelers. So I just got this watch. It's like my brand new watch. So I'm in love with it. So we get there. We get to the airport. We land and we meet the guy obviously with the car. The young guys, always like, how you doing, man? Two things about Italy, like Naples. One, the watch. Put it away.
That's interesting. I've never heard that.
Same. Number two, police, slow down, police dickheads. Really? He said something like that. And I was like, all right, whatever. Because I'm the same as you, bro. I didn't know. I thought Italy, because I've been to Milan, right?
Yeah, because I knew about Barcelona, even though I got a watch Nick. So at the time, I didn't know. But yeah, I never thought Italy was like that.
I've been to Milan. That's the only place where I've been to in Italy.
Been there as well, yeah.
Beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, kind of like London, but just nicer.
Yeah. Like Assassin's Creed. That's what I think of.
I know what you mean. So anyway, he said that, but I didn't think much of it. I was like, whatever. You know, I respect it. I'm going to wear it like this. It's fine.
Exactly.
So I'm driving, long story short, I'm driving. You probably all know where this is probably going, right? So we're driving. Just to give you guys the scenario so you can imagine it. We're in a one-way, by the way, the roads in Naples are fucking so shit. They're all like rubble, so all like bricks, right?
Really?
Well, in like the town center, like the old town, right? They're all rubbles. They're all one lane as well. They're not two ways, they're all one way, but like they're one lane. Bear in mind, the cars in there are like Ford Fiestas and mini cars, smart cars, right? Bro, this F8 is fucking so wide, and so long. And one more thing, I swear to God, it was the only supercar there. Bro, we were driving about for like 4 hours because of traffic. We did not hear or see another supercar for like 4 hours, bro. So we were and it was a very poor part of Italy, which I didn't know as well. Again, I just thought, because you think of Amalfi Coast, like Naples, South Italy.
It was baller shit.
Beautiful, right? Bro, Naples ain't like that. So we're driving about and, you know, I'm not mad at the place because I was being a dickhead. I was wearing a tuxedo because we just done a video.
That's so sick.
Me and my boy were both wearing tuxedos. This is my Instagram actually, what I was wearing. Look, let me show you. So this is how I was driving about, right?
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah, that's sick.
So I'm driving about, and as you can see, the watch is on my wrist there, right?
Asking for trouble.
I'm not asking for trouble, bro. But obviously, I'm not doing it on purpose. I didn't mean to. And so anyway, I'm driving about and it's hot as hell there. So I put the window down and, you know, I'm not an idiot. Like, I know there's crime everywhere, but it wasn't crossing my mind because I was just so chilled out. I'm in a Ferrari and it's hot, and I put the window down and I just had my arm like this and I'm driving, right? Another bits of context, just so you guys can imagine like the scenario. There are motorbikes, like peds, going past like just every second.
So you're in traffic right now?
Stuck in traffic, it's not moving, and there's peds going past like zoom, zoom, like fucking from both sides, etc. So we're chilling. And you know, I'm just like this, and all I feel is like, you know, a tap on my shoulder like this, and it's happened once already. Nobody tapped me, but somebody like, you know, stopped and went like this and like went like that on a motorbike and like took a picture of the car, and I just thought it was another guy, like, you know, nice car, saying rev it. I just looked over and I'm like, yeah, like this, whatever. I looked back, and he went, and then there was two guys on the ped, by the way. One of them grabbed, like one of them got off. The guy in the front, no, guy in the back, sorry. Guy in the back of the ped got off, grabbed my wrist and started pulling it out the window. And I don't know what kind of fucking idiot he was, but he wasn't trying to undo it. He was just trying to rip it off my wrist. Yeah. And obviously at that point I was like, all right, cool, I'm getting robbed. This is the first, I've never had anything like that before, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. And for context as well, like I don't come from like a rough like gang background, but like I come from a fucking what's it called, council estate, and like I've been around this stuff, like I know what it is, like I'm not a pussy about it. So I was freaking out a little bit, but I wasn't like, okay, take it. So I was trying to pull him back, and then the other guy who was sitting in front of the bike, he went like this, got a gun, right, a Glock, and what he done is he leant in and put it on my chest. So obviously he's not trying to make a massive by the way, this is a busy street, this isn't like some alleyway, this is a busy street, there's people walking around, and he put it on my chest, right, rather than going like this so everyone can see, he just put it on my chest. Obviously, like at that point I'm like, fuck, like this guy's got a gun. And I don't know, it just wasn't even in my thought process that he was gonna shoot me or like kill me. Yeah.
Oh, I'm about to say the watch is still there, so you either bought another one or something's happened. So
it just wasn't even in my thought process that, and for context as well, just so it happened so quickly, but I'm trying to kind of, you know, do it in the same time frame. As he gets the gun here, my business partner Harry, because we obviously had seatbelts on, he undone his seatbelt and low-key undone my one without like the guys noticing. And by that point, Harry had already gotten out of the car and started walking around, like the back of the car, like low down. The guys obviously didn't see it, and Harry didn't know I had a fucking gun here. So anyway, and I'm still in the midst of like pulling my wrist back in. Then the guy realized, all right, his friend is there. I'm not being a pussy. I'm not just giving him my watch. So he takes the gun, puts it like actually to my head like this, and starts punching me with the gun. And I think this is where I realized in a split second that's not a real gun. It might have been, but it didn't knock me out, bro. I have photos, and again, I can, if you remind me, I'm happy to send them, because I know this sounds like some bullshit story, but you know, it didn't really hurt. It bruised my head. It might be on my other phone. Let me see.
Yeah, fuck. I've had a watch nicked, but I've never had a gun pulled on me.
Yeah. Let me see. It might be on my other phone. I will get it in just a second. All it was, there was like bruises here, and a kind of a bruise on my forehead here. But long story short, so they were hitting me with a gun at this point, and I think when he was hitting me with a gun, that's when I was like, right, so he's not gonna shoot me, because he would have fucking shot me by now. Yeah, can I just grab my other phone, because I really want I want people to see your reaction in real time.
Yeah, get it. We'll pause it.
Okay, just cut 1 second, guys. One sec.
It's a good story.
Oh, sorry, I think it's right here. Let's see, yeah, it's here. Maybe you didn't even need to cut. So it's on this phone. So by this point, my business partner runs around the back, and he's pushing him off the bike. And I think this is where because people knew what was going on around, but nobody was coming over to help. And I don't blame them. Like, there was a fucking gun. People are screaming, shouting. Obviously, everyone knows that I'm getting robbed. So like, I don't blame the people. I'm not expecting some Superman to come around the corner. Yeah. Like, it's fine. But Harry basically pushed one off. Oh my
You
God.
pushed him off with a gun?
Yeah. No, not with a gun. So
it's in like the Don with the gun?
Yeah.
That's some balls.
So, and then also for context, he's wearing suspenders, I think they're called, right? Those things here, because we're both wearing full tuxedos, right? And he's running, because the guy with the bike starts running away now. Oh, driving away, sorry, and left his buddy like behind, and obviously he realized he left his friend behind. He stopped. Bro, where the fuck is this photo? Hold on.
Shit.
Here we go. I'm about to find it. And so long story short, they basically, here we go, bro. So this is all that I got. It was basically a mark there. They mainly hit me on my head like here, so that's why you couldn't see. And if you remind me, I'm happy to send this to you so you guys can put it up on the thing here. And this is where he pointed the gun like this.
Fuck yeah, he was going pretty hard.
Oh yeah, bro. No, like and then obviously as you can see, there's red on my wrist here because that's what, bro. He wasn't trying to undo it. He was just trying to rip it off. It's physically impossible. But yeah, so anyway, so then Harry pushed one of them off. One of them fell over. One of them was off the ped, one of them was on the ped. The guy on the ped started like riding away because he realized like, oh, this is bad, because they were already there for like 2 minutes probably, but it felt like 2 seconds because they were taking so long. They were probably expecting to freak me out, and I'm a little white boy in a Ferrari, daddy's money, what they're probably thinking, he's probably gonna shit himself and take his watch off. That wasn't the case, and I'm like, oh fuck it, we'll probably go then. And then he starts riding away and left his friend. So the guy behind him starts running after the ped to jump on. Harry's wearing suspenders and like smart shoes, and bear in mind these are cobbled, like it's a cobbled road, right? So it's not like a tarmac. Harry's like tripping over, twisting his ankle. I jump out of the car as well. We're like shouting at them, screaming at them, and then that's when
running after him.
Yeah, just a little bit. Obviously I didn't want to leave the car. Like I basically was by the door, but Harry was running after them. And again, for context, remember it's traffic, so it's not like they just got on a car and just went.
You're not telling the Don's got a gun, just leave it.
It was just in the moment, bro. We're just like screaming and shouting. We just had so much adrenaline pumping as well. I didn't even feel these until like the next day, obviously. So we ran away, and then the guy, for him luckily, jumped on the ped and they just left. Then me and Harry, we obviously jumped back into the Ferrari. We went down to the side. Everyone like swarms over, like in terms of the public, is like, oh, you okay? And they were like, we can call the police. And then somebody came over and like could actually speak English. They were like, I'll be honest, guys, like we can call the police if you want, but I wouldn't suggest it, because one, by the time they get here, it'll be like fucking half an hour. Two, they're corrupt. This is how bad Naples is, bro. So he said, two, they're corrupt, so they'll probably fucking do the same thing. And then three, if they do actually come here, they will need a full statement from you. You're gonna have to go to the police station, so on and so on. So yeah, how the story ended was we were shitting ourselves at this point, because what we're thinking was obviously they're going to come back with like more people, because we were stuck there, like it's the traffic, we're stuck, but luckily we basically just weasel through the fucking traffic. The windows are up, doors are locked, we're like constantly looking around, and we just stopped to the closest hotel, which was fucking bougie as hell. It was like some Hilton hotel. It was a great ending, to be honest. But yeah, that was my first time like getting robbed. It's fucked.
That's a good story, to be fair.
Fucked, isn't it? Yeah. But this is, and then me and you off camera were talking about Dubai and moving stuff. Like, bro, even in London, like I went out, like this story, by the way, about Naples, this was my birthday, October, so it must have been like late October. My birthday is 20th of October, so I think it was like
mine's 18th.
There you go. It's either, are you a Libra as well? Sick. It's either the end of the October or like beginning of November, right? So now it must have been about 3-ish months ago. We went out after like December, just before Christmas, to London. I think it was like Cirque we went out to. And for anybody that doesn't know what that is or where it is, when you come out of that nightclub, there's just a bunch of like streets and alleyways, and we're essentially trying to come out to like the main road, and like, bro, there was just two guys fucking ballied up, pufferjack, which is like funny because like people just walk around. People just walk around.
Shit about London with the watches.
Nuts, man. People just walk around like that around London. Like just the ballet, like fair play, but like it was just me and my boy again, and there was these two guys like ballied up and fucking like walking our way, and obviously I was like, fuck's sake, not this shit again. Obviously I had my watch on, which I don't know, like I've got is it a cat? No, G-Shock. I've got a G-Shock now, and I just wear that whenever I go out. But this is why I'm moving away from UK. I'm not going to live here. So
is that confirmed that you're moving to the country that you don't want to speak about?
Yeah. Well, so I'm not going to be living there for certain reasons, but my business partner may or may not potentially be living there.
Everyone on fucking Twitter and YouTube has moved there or is moving there, including some of my very close friends, which is sad because I'm not going to see him. What is it,
4-hour flight? No, 8 hour?
6.5.
6.5?
7.
But it's just, I don't know why fucking Dubai flight's so expensive, man. What the fuck?
I'd never pay for flights. Always on points.
Points, yeah, fair
I fly
enough.
first class for free.
Yeah,
Doing it for 5 years. That is the one benefit of ad spend.
Yeah, true.
In e-commerce particularly. Even though you actually run the maths on it and it's like, it's not worth as much as you think. But yeah, fuck. I might have to move.
But yeah, where was the best place that you went to, by the way? But
whatever.
But the thing is, people ask me this as well. But my answer is like, well, it depends on what. Like, are you talking about the nightlife? Like,
yeah, I mean, probably like the most memorable when I first went was probably like Bali, because it's very different. That was like, I associate that period with when I first like started traveling and like being an entrepreneur and all this shit.
The first kind of taste of freedom, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And it's never as magical as the first time, and you don't know that at the time. I mean, I've since been there recently. It was still sick, but it wasn't as magical.
Yeah.
I've seen it, done it before now.
Yeah.
It's like with anything.
Yeah.
Which is why things are very fleeting, whether they're experiences or things, and
we were speaking about this off camera, which is like, and this also, by the way, goes back to just before I started the story about the watch. One of the last questions you asked me, which was like, so why not just scale the management agency, right, to like $1 million a month, like, because it could be a great cash cow business. So how I got into this story was like I'm at this stage where like I've done all the things that I've wanted, which by the way was the only thing that I wanted, was just to retire my mum. Like that was my only thing, mainly because like I mentioned, unfortunately my pops passed away when I was 18, so that just left me with me and my mum. And without going like too fucking dark to end the poddy, or like, you know, a bit of a sub story, but I think it just made you realize like what's actually important. Going out, spending $2,000 on some stupid bottles where you're going to be hanging the next morning, or buying a piece of clothing, you know, where like unfortunately if you just spill something on it, it's fucked. Like it's not worth it. But helping your friends and family is like incredible, bro. So I have a really small family. I just have my initial family is just me and my mum, and then my full family is just my auntie and 2 cousins. That is it. I have no grandparents. I don't have any brothers or sisters. So because we are such a small family, that's the only thing that really matters. You know, that's what I like spending money on. That's what I do not ever think twice about spending money on. Whereas like sometimes genuinely, like I don't know why I bought this fucking scarf in Italy, but like I thought twice about it. But I was like, it's all right, it's winter, I'll justify it, I'll wear this scarf. Bro, it's such an idiot. It was like £400, which I guess to me now is like, it's okay, but like still £400, I could have spent it on something else. But friends and family is very important. So I've done that now. What else do I really want? I know it sounds, I don't know, maybe to you it will sound normal, but to most people maybe it sounds like fucking, oh, look at you. But I've always had like massive goals, and I thought like really, really big, which is like, for me, I just want power now. It's like, and when I say power, by the way, I just mean like, what's the best way to describe it? For example, if I want to get into a country but I'm not allowed, or like if my friend is stuck in a country and he can't get out, I can just do one message or one phone call and I can sort that. Like that's what I'm trying to get to, right? And $1 million a month ain't gonna do that. It's just not. It just isn't. So I need to build something to then be able to exit from, and then just keep redoing that. Like, because I love building things, so my thought process is if I can build something, exit from it, it's probably not going to be anything too big in the grand scheme of things. Sure, it'll be a couple mil, but I'm not talking like hundreds of millions. But the lessons I will learn along there will help me with the next business. Do you know Alex Hormozi?
Yeah.
Heard of him, right? You know who he is.
Yeah.
Essentially, I want to you know, build something what Alex has got going on. So it's like an incubator of like businesses that are doing above 3 million a month, and he helps them build to like, you know, what is the ceiling of that said business, and then to exit for fucking hundreds of millions. And if anyone's wondering like where did I get this idea, or like how, you know, what makes me think this way, it's actually quite funny. I remember watching what was it called? Billionaire. I think Billionaires.
Yeah.
It's like a series, right?
I've seen that.
Is it called Billionaires?
Something like that. It's Billions.
With
yes. The fucking,
I don't know the actor's name.
Yeah, the Ginger John.
Yes, yeah. So Google
Axelrod.
Yes, yeah.
Something Axelrod.
Yeah.
My dad watches that shit.
Yeah, so I watched like 4 or 5 episodes of it back when I was running my agency. Funny enough, like my marketing agency. This is so I was like 20 years old at that point. I'm 24 now, by the way. And back then, and I watched it, and that's what made me like, it's really interesting. I genuinely, if you guys don't watch anything, that's the only thing that I recommend, and Wolf of Wall Street obviously, but everyone's watched that.
Yeah, legendary.
But that gave me like an insight. I know it's a fucking TV show or like a series, but at the end of the day, it genuinely gives you a bit of an insight on what does a billionaire actually like. What does their life look like?
I know what you mean,
bro. And there's like that one, I think it's like the 4th episode, which is the last one I watched. I didn't watch much of it, but because I get bored so easily. I have like a really short attention span if I'm not into something, right? And but I remember this, one of the episodes was him, I'm probably going to butcher the exact storyline, but it was basically like he went to like this event with his missus, and it was like some awards ceremony, right? And it was being hosted in this hall in their city. It was like one of those old like halls, right? Like a massive like fucking thing. And it was called something like this said family like named it, and the plaque said like their name, their family name.
I know where this is going.
Yeah, and he looked at it and he was like, shit, isn't it? And she was like, what do you mean, darling? And he was like, oh, this beautiful building, it's called this shit name. I don't like it, I'm gonna change it. She was like, what do you mean? The next cutscene is him sitting in like the table with all the family that own that building, and he made like a crazy offer. I think they were looking for like 400 million or 40 million, something like that, and he offered 4 million, right? Something along those lines, like proper undercutted it. And long story short, he actually got the building, changed the name just because he didn't fucking like the look of it. And it's kind of like how Elon just buys Twitter and things like that.
Yeah, it's fucking levels to it.
But I think that's where I'll get enjoyment. Without going too deep as well, I know me and you spoke about this just off the potty, is like, I'm not depressed in no way, shape or form. Like I'm happy, but there's not a lot of things that like I really find enjoyment anymore, other than like building things, like building businesses and like working on things. I
think just progression.
Yeah.
I've spoke about this before. It's the only real thing. Like that's why like the whole lifestyle brigade are never going to go very far unless they realise pretty soon that stuff is fleeting. While it's still sick, and I'd fucking love to have 25 cars in a garage, especially cars, because that's my thing. But I think you want to build something cool, always be getting better, and be respected for doing something cool.
That's the goal.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
Like and I think that's what you have to do as a man, particularly as a man, which is like apparently a fucking like sensitive subject these days, because who is a man, all this shit. But I think I'm pretty traditional in that respect. So
you know what else is an interesting topic as well that I've only realized like in the last 2 years, I guess, because I've only really been making, to me, like good money is like 100k a month now. Like it's not nowhere near to where I want to get to, but to me, like I'm making that now, which is to me, I'm quite happy with it. Fuck, what was I going to say? To me, when I was first starting out, I was thinking essentially like maybe when you make like 10 grand a month, that's when you can like afford everything that you always wanted. Which kind of like, it depends. Obviously everyone has like different goals, and everyone wants like different things. But to me, it's like, even now at 100k, it's like, yeah, I still can't like I love RMs, as ugly as they are. I actually really like them.
I don't rate them.
No,
I think the Holy Grail is like a rose gold Passat Nautilus or some shit.
Yeah, they're beautiful as well.
But I can see what you mean.
I wouldn't say the RM is like my grail piece, but as much as I love them, I know how expensive they are. But like I can't afford something like that yet. I wouldn't want to either, because I don't know if they're really going to go up or down. I know where you're
going. I mean, the carrot's always moving though, isn't it?
Yeah, correct, right? And it's always that next thing.
It's always going to be like that though.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you get to the point where you can experience a bit of it, then you probably start to have more context on the fact that it's not going to make you happy anyway. It's more the building things, and obviously you want money and material things. It does matter, but it matters less past a certain point. And then it's more about just doing it because you want to fucking build shit. Because like, what else are we fucking here for? Can't all be like enjoyment. Which is why I relate to David Goggins so much. That's why I've started doing these mad runs and shit.
Yeah.
I do it because it's shit.
Yeah.
And because I know that most people aren't doing it. So I like the idea of being able to say I fucking beat that guy by an hour.
That's even though it's not money.
And I like the fact that it's not money and it's away from a screen.
Yeah.
It's like a physical endeavor. It's like some Viking shit.
Yeah.
It's like, I fucking worked harder than you.
Yeah.
You versus me, like I'm gonna kill you. It's in like a physical realm.
Conquer, innit?
Yeah, exactly.
Conquering the day.
It passes over into the into other things as well.
I've spoken about the whole morning routine type of things, because for me, when I was first starting out in business in general, I would have like this mad morning routine that I'd genuinely stick to like every day for like half a year, which was like obviously wake up at like 4 or 5.
Fucking hell, 4's early. I ain't doing that.
But I'd go to sleep at like 9, 10, obviously. So it's kind of like the same thing, but just going to sleep earlier, and then be at the gym. I think I woke up at 5, go to the gym at 6 because it opened at 6, finish at obviously 7, have a shower, this and that, eat breakfast, and then start work at like 7:30, and then by like 1-2 p.m. I've already done like more work than like the average person would in a week, and that would feel just fucking incredible. So I know exactly what you mean, that feeling, right? Like kind of satisfaction of like, I know I've worked harder than somebody else. But what's interesting is I don't do that anymore, and I make way more.
Well, I think it's because you have to learn what works for you, don't you? And you become more nuanced in your approach to things rather than trying to just, watch Alex Hormozy or whatever, Gary Vee, and follow that, which you have to do to a certain point. Right, last question. I feel like we could go for like 5 hours. You're a good storyteller. I ask this question to everyone now. It's very cheesy, but I think it's quite reflective and useful. And you have to think about it on the spot. If you could give 3 bits of advice to your, 16-year-old self now, in hindsight, what would it be? What would they be?
As difficult, the most difficult things in general are the things that are going to bring you more rewards, which is like common sense, but once you actually practice it, then you start to realize it. So for example, it's not easy to wake up at 5 a.m. consistently and to go gym and to come home and start work and genuinely fucking put this away, like away, and actually sit at your computer and just like work for 4 or 5 hours. So one is like, do the hard things. Like you said it yourself, you do it because you don't fucking want, you want to do it, but it's difficult. That's why you do it, right? So that. Second thing, and I feel like probably everybody's heard all these things, but there's probably a reason, because these are the things that matter. Second one is just consistency. Again, I know it seems like such a cliche.
This is the thing.
Everyone says the same thing.
Well, the cliches are true.
Yeah.
But it's interesting hearing it from different people. They're not all the same thing, of course.
Second thing is consistency. That goes for more than, which obviously I'm sure everyone just thinks about, like if you're running a business, work on my business consistently. Yeah, but like I mean, like how you do one thing is how you do everything, bro. So if you're not consistent with how you clean your room, you're not going to be consistent in how you run your business. If you're not consistent in your self-hygiene and how you portray yourself, it's the same with that. Same as how you talk, how you make yourself come across. Like it's all these things. You have to be consistent in everything, and over a long period of time. Third one, piece of advice. Initially, first thing I get is such a cheesy thing, but I'm not going to say it. I'll just say it, but this isn't my third thing, which is like take more risk. I always did. I think I've been in such a fucking fortunate position in my life where like my mother, bless her little heart, man, my mother has always been like the perfect balance between like, Markuss, do whatever the fuck you want, and Markuss, you can't do this, or you have to do that, and like a balance, right? She's never been strict, and she's never really told me what not to do or what to do. But she's always supported me, man, always. But there has been like, unfortunately, before my, pops passed away, there was a pretty shit thing that I was, going down, because I was living in a council estate, and like I said, all my friends were either doing drugs or selling them. And as you can imagine, I was doing one of the two. I'll let you figure that one out. And then obviously things like that, my mom would like put me in place, like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't do that for the rest of your life. But other than that, my mom always let me take risks. So for example, I was like, Mum, I'm going to drop out of college. I don't see a point in it. All right, cool. Most parents probably wouldn't do that, right? Hey, Mum, I know I've been doing this door-to-door job for a year and I'm making decent money, but I'm going to quit. You sure? Yeah. All right, cool. So take risks is the third thing that came in my mind, but I feel like I can think of...
That's a good third one, but you can add a fourth.
I can feel like I can think of a better one. What about you? Give one yourself.
Give one.
For 16 yourself, 16
well, actually,
year old.
I'm going to give a slightly different one, because I've answered this a few times. People have turned it on me. I would say document more for your own sake, even if you don't post it. Because I wish I had fucking done these weekly videos or podcasts, whatever the fuck you want to call it in some context. Even when I had nothing to speak about, I wish I'd done more of it, because you can't get that time back. And the stuff I did film from like 5 years ago, I find it like so powerful watching now, because it's the only obviously pictures are one thing, everyone's got loads of pictures, but if you have a video of you speaking, it's like a time capsule. So I just, especially in this day and age, even if you don't post it, like do a private YouTube video, whatever it is, and especially with YouTube, you can then make it public in years to come, and people have a date on it. So it's like context for the journey. So that's probably one thing I'd say, which is different.
Completely agree, man. That's also why I haven't privated all my old videos when I was doing SMA.
Yeah,
like they're still up there. I'm like, because fuck it, like, what? I don't have anything to hide.
People give, and it's impossible not to when you're younger. You give way too much shit what people think, which is why you don't make content. I remember wanting to be a YouTuber.
Yeah,
I used to make music covers. But then I deleted loads of them because someone at school said they were shit.
Yeah, I know.
And I wish I just. Now I just don't give a fuck because whatever, you get over it, but document more.
Thank you for giving me some time to think, by the way. I got the third thing now. This probably won't apply to everybody, because if you're just starting out, this won't apply to you. But if you're if you've been doing entrepreneurship or trying to build something, bro, please take this advice. And there's so many fucking people that don't do this. Just stick to one thing for long enough.
Oh,
right?
Wow, yeah. I resonate with that.
Yeah.
Having not done that for a while.
Because I know me and you spoke about that briefly off camera, and I was the same, bro. Like, the thing, the shiny object syndrome, obviously, right?
Always. I even get it now.
Sure. The thing is, it's like that fucking such an old photo of like two guys digging, and one is like this close to diamonds, and he's
classic.
It's so true. I swear to God, it's so funny.
You can do anything but not everything.
Yeah. Correct.
At least at the same time.
Correct. Especially when you're starting out.
Yeah.
When you are like Elon Musk level and you have money to then pay people to do shit for you, that's fine. But people don't think of it that way. People think that Elon is the one building all this shit. He's not. He's just making the moves, and so on and so on. But even then, imagine if Elon just put all this thought power into like one thing.
Yeah, arguably would be better.
Right? But especially when you're starting out, bro, you have so much learning to do. You have so much learning to do. You probably don't have a lot of money, so you can't, scale faster. And even if you have a lot of money and you have a lot of time, it's also about your thought capabilities, right? So like if you're thinking of just two things, which by the way, most people have fucking 7 different things going on. Like, oh yeah, I'm into trading, I'm into crypto, but I'm also running this agency, and I'm also doing copywriting and email marketing.
You're also in love with a girl that saps your fucking mental energy. And
there you go.
Maybe that's just me.
No, that's it, man. So just stick to one thing, man. Stick to one thing, and sure, maybe somebody might be thinking, but what do I stick to, or how long do I stick to it? No, obviously I can't answer it for everybody, because everybody has a different thing. For me personally, I can only say for me, if you're doing something and you've been doing it for, so like, I mean, again, there's a difference, because somebody might do something for 3 months and somebody might do something for a year.
I think it's harder to stick with one thing when you're getting started, but you'll know, I think what you're getting at is you'll know if it's going somewhere or not. You just have to be honest with yourself. And maybe it takes someone else to tell you, or maybe it takes, I don't know, numbers to tell you, but I think in your gut if something's for you or not.
Do you know what the best way?
Probably.
The best way, and again, this won't apply to everybody, but this is how I done it. Maybe yourself as well. If you are doing a bunch of shit, and if this is you right now, you're listening, right? Out of the 3, 4, even 2 things, how many things you got going on? Out of all the things that you got going on, well, which one do you kind of enjoy the most, but that isn't that important? It depends which stage you're at, actually. For me now, it's enjoyment, right? I'm sure maybe for you as well. And then 2 is obviously which one is making you the most money? Yeah. Like profit, that is not revenue, because you can have an e-com store and you're making 20k a month, but if you're making 1,000 a month, that doesn't matter. How much are you taking home from that store, right? But yeah, so how much are you making from all the things that you're going on? And if there's one thing that stands out from all of them, like way above, and you enjoy that thing, just drop all the other things and stick to that one thing. Yeah. You can always go back to the other things in the future if you really wanted to. It's not going to disappear. But I think people have FOMO in it. They want to do a bit of everything.
I've got FOMO because I'm not running an OnlyFans agency yet. And the problem is I could probably do it, but I'm not going to. On that bombshell... This has been a long one, actually, like 2 hours 20 nearly. Shit. This is in the top 1% of long podcasts. Shit. We've only done 6.
I'm always in the top 1%. Let's go, boys. Well,
it's a theme.
Thank you for having me, man.
I think we can definitely clip this pod more than any other episode I've ever done.
Sweet.
And I'm going to. And yeah, I hope people learned something, because I certainly did. And if you are not doing anything, maybe potentially check out your community and start a fucking agency. But I guess if you're running an e-com brand, probably not the best idea. But yeah, fuck. Where can people find you and your community and shit? I mean, I'll link it all down, but.
Sure. Just the easiest way, I guess, is if you want to directly link the Discord community, I'll just obviously get that in the description. But just my Instagram at Markuss Hussle. Then in the description of that Instagram is the Discord, and on there you can find everything. We have a bunch of free stuff. Obviously, if you have some money, we have an online course. It's $499. It's like 300 something quid, 390 quid or something. If you want that, sure, be my guest. That does teach you everything from A to Z. It'll just save you a lot of time. But alternatively, if you're just starting out, we have a bunch of free stuff. Just join the Discord.
Sick. Right, as always, subscribe to the pod. Cheers for watching. This was a sick episode, and I really need a piss now. So see you in the next one.
See you later, lads.
Cheers.